Mr. Wizard's World. Won't be seen tonight, so we can bring you a very special episode of The Gen X Files. Welcome to The Gen X Files. I'm Jim.
I'm Adam.
And today's show is all about Tango and Cash. Tango and Cash.
If it's not Cash, it's Tango. If it's not Tango, it's Cash.
It's Cash.
Oh, my God. He's such a weirdo.
I need some time alone with my rat versions of Tango and Cash.
He's such a weirdo.
Jack Palance is the weirdest MFer in the world, but also the greatest.
Oh, no, he's fantastic. He's a great actor.
He is a cartoon of a human being.
I mean, he fits in very well into this movie.
This movie is the culmination of every over-the-top action cop movie of the 80s. It's in 89, so everything... They were like, all right, how do we top everything?
Right, exactly.
And in my opinion, they did.
It's amazing to me how well this movie works, considering how awful it should be.
Oh, my God. Everything about it on... Well, not everything about it on paper, because the cast is great, but it should have been a bomb. It should have been an awful movie.
Oh, the whole... The behind the scenes was so ridiculous, but like it should have just been bad.
It makes no sense. I mean, it makes no sense.
It is so entertaining. It is so much fun to watch.
Absolutely.
I just forgot how much I loved this movie until we watched it again.
It's pure joy. It is one of the greatest action movies ever. It starts and doesn't stop.
Yeah.
It somehow transcends all of the ridiculous tropes.
Yeah.
And all of
this should be a horribly mediocre movie.
Of course. But no, I mean, how they scrap together one of the greatest action movies ever. And Sylvester Stallone, I don't know why he and Kurt Russell didn't do more movies together, because Kurt Russell really brought out something in Sly.
Oh, yeah.
It's his best performance since First Blood.
Agreed. Totally agreed.
It gets totally faced.
He doesn't sound like he's gargling rocks.
Oh, I have good elocution. It's got an amazing cast. Every single character actor that you love is in it.
Oh, my God. All of the 80s character actors.
All of it, and 70s, too, because you got Jeffrey Lewis, you got James Hong, you got Brian James, you got Robert Zadar, you got Michael Jeter.
Yeah, it's pretty funny how most of these people, like, averaged between, like, 120 and 200 films through their entire career.
Michael J. Pollard, and I'm sure this is probably one of their faves.
Yeah, well, I mean, I get the impression it probably wasn't the best movie to work on.
No, but it gave Brian James a chance to try out his Cockney accent.
Yeah, well.
Hi, governor.
Yeah.
It was just like, whomever wrote this just grabbed like the big book of English euphemisms.
Well, it actually wasn't. It was his. We'll get to it. But it was his idea to do the Cockney accent, and then Stallone rewrote the character to be a Cockney.
Watching this movie, and from what you've told me, it just seems like everybody kind of railroaded the director and was like, this is what I'm going to do with my character.
I mean, he did. The stuff that he did, it was good. I mean, he shot stuff well. I mean, as far as I know, this was really his first kind of action movie.
Sure.
I mean, there was something before this, like, kind of, but more of a drama.
Right.
But, like, he did well with the material. And, and he got along really well with Sylvester Stallone. So
which is not easy to do, especially back then. Look, because Sly was super competitive back then. This is in the peak of he and Arnold's rivalry. And I will have to say, he kind of let go of that with this movie because it wasn't much of a competition with Kurt. And I think probably because Kurt's probably like, I ain't competing with you.
Yeah, whatever.
We're in the same movie. I'm just doing my job.
I'm here to have a good time.
Yeah. And then Stallone is probably like, okay.
Oh, you mean we just have to act?
We could have fun? Okay. Sounds really weird to me. But I adore this movie. I haven't seen it in a while. I was so excited to watch this.
Yeah,
it did not disappoint.
No, it holds up so well.
I've decided that Kurt Russell is in my top 5 of favorite actors of all time.
Yes.
He is the epitome of charm.
This is the reason that I fell in love with Kurt Russell and my actor crush, because he was so just irreverent and had such a good time in this movie.
Right.
Like, I was like, okay, I need to see more of him.
It's like if Riggs from Lethal Weapon was not suicidal.
Right.
And enjoyed life.
And actually was a positive person.
Because it is, very archetypal. It's very like like we said with Running Scared, checks all the boxes.
Yeah.
Do you have your percussive, horn-heavy soundtrack? Check.
Yeah.
Do you have your two leads that are, making wiener jokes? Check. Do you have the ingenue that comes in and causes problems? Check. A little weird relationship, brother-sister.
Yeah, it's super weird. I'd never really understood that. It was super weird. I mean, granted, I've never had a sister, so like...
I have a sister, and it was weird. Not my sister, but this.
I mean, I just don't know if you're actually... Are you that protective of her? Like, to the point where it seems like you're more her lover than her brother?
Well, I've never had a poster-sized picture of my sister in my room. As lovely and wonderful and beautiful as she is, and she is. I mean, she's probably the greatest person I've ever known.
Yeah.
But boundaries, people.
Yeah, it's a little weird.
Yeah, there's just a kind of a thing.
That scene when he's pulling the suits out, it literally looks like her room. It's not, because why would he be pulling his suits out of her closet?
Do you have any more posters of yourself? Maybe a little less clothed. Hey, man, I didn't write it. Hey, could we put a little bit more sexual tension between me and my sister?
I don't know technically if they knew who wrote it either.
Well, I think originally wasn't it supposed to be like his adopted sister?
Yeah. It was actually somebody else was cast, and then they decided to make it the sister. They had Terry Hatcher hired because she looked more like Stallone.
True. I mean,
she does. They definitely pass as brother and sister.
Yeah, if there's a 20-year gap between...
I just don't think they really changed the script that much.
I don't know.
So it just became a weird relationship.
But it works. It works. Yeah. And I will have to say, the whole, like, is it my sister?
Yeah.
That thing evolved into something more interesting.
It was allowed them to become closer as friends.
Yeah. And it's a great scene with both Kurt and Sly, and some great acting by Sly, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
Where he's like, look, I just wanted to get the call.
I
couldn't live with myself.
Yeah.
You die. If you got the call, then you die.
It's amazing when Stallone actually shows a little bit of heart and a little bit of sensitivity.
Yeah.
He's really good.
Yes. Look, we said this. Please listen to our First Blood episode if you want to learn more about Sly and our feelings for him. But like you said, like we were talking about, Rocky was a blessing and a curse.
Yeah.
Because it blew up and it gave him an incredible career, but he's been fighting the dopey dog.
Yeah. Literally since 76.
Exactly. And this, I think, was his, because probably casting, they wanted him for the, probably wanted him for the Kurt Russell part because that's more like... like ready. It's just like, I'm the British guy.
Yeah.
But he wanted to be the smart guy for once, wanted to go against type and be like, this is who I am.
Yeah.
The guy who wears glasses.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure Stallone, when he read the script, he was like, I get to prove.
And look.
Yeah.
He didn't. I mean.
It's still one of his better parts.
Oh, it is. And it's fun. It's just that. The sing-songy way that he talks.
I know.
Because he's so face.
But it works so well in this movie. It's just so
weird. What are you doing, Pee-wee?
Another layer of the weirdness of this movie.
It is. But again, everything somehow works and comes together to make this glorious piece of 80s gold, man.
It's like taking every single worst musician and putting them in an orchestra, and somehow they still come up with Beethoven.
Yes.
Like, it's so bizarre.
Yes. It is unreal how much I love this movie.
I agree.
I am not apologetic for it. I unabashedly, unironically love this movie, and it is one of my absolute favorite action movies of all time.
I would agree. It's in my top 5 favorite action movies, and I think in my favorite movies of all time, probably my top 20.
Yeah.
Like, after watching it again, it is just so much fun.
Because we take it with cash.
It is literally the movie. In the middle of the movie, I was like, this is a movie you want to sit down with friends and watch.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, we talked through it. We made fun of stuff.
Sure.
But, like, it was so perfect for that type of movie experience.
It's not like Highlander where it's just so dumb that you just constantly make fun of it.
Right.
Because for a favor, Two-Face on shoot for sword. No, this movie is ridiculous, but it works. Like,
yeah.
It somehow
defies all odds.
Yes, 100%. All right, let's get into it.
Anyway, let's get into it. All right, take yourself back to 1989.
Yeah.
June 5th, an unknown Chinese protester, Tank Man, stands in front of a column of military tanks on Chang'an Avenue in Beijing, temporarily halting them, an incident which achieves iconic status internationally through images taken by Western photographers.
Oh, my God, I remember when that happened.
Oh, yeah, same.
It was insane. Like, watching that guy stand up to those tanks.
It was crazy.
It's one of the most heroic pictures.
Right.
China didn't like it, but he still didn't like it.
Didn't live too much longer after that, unfortunately.
No, but what a brave man.
But he was just like, you know what? I'm tired of this. I'm tired of this. August 20th in Beverly Hills, California, Lyle and Eric Menendez shoot their wealthy parents to death in the family's den.
Do you know that that's back?
Yeah. So they're in jail.
Well, yeah, they've been in jail. Yeah. But so Lyle and Eric's dad used to be in the music industry. Mm-hmm. And one of the bands that he tangentially represented or somehow was involved with was Menudo. And one of the members of Menudo came out recently saying that he was molested
by the Menendez dad.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
And the argument for the Menendez brothers during the trial was that they were molested and they feared for their lives. And it was, so in the case of that, like usually in the case of molestation and murder, whatever, it's more of a manslaughter charge than a murder one.
Right.
So they're trying to get a new trial to get manslaughter, which would, time served and they'd get out of jail.
Yeah.
Look, I don't know exactly. I remember watching the trial and everybody made fun of them and their sweaters and the fact that they cried on stand and one of the huge plot points in Cable Man was was Ben Stiller playing the twins that were on trial and
the kind of parody of it.
Things were super salacious back then. This was, was the Menendez trial was the beginning of like the OJ, like the sensationalism of court TV started.
Court TV,
all that stuff where we were just gripped by these celebrities.
We had to know everything all the time.
Yes, we all became armchair prosecutors back then. Ugh. But yeah, it's just
soon to be evolved into armchair everything.
I know, right?
Yeah.
But it's just really interesting that it's back in the news, and
that's crazy because it's been like 34 years that they've been in jail. Like it's
something like that.
30 or because I think it was like 91. I think they got put away.
Yeah.
But like that's crazy.
Yeah.
I can't imagine being in jail for 3 decades and then being like, oh, hey, by the way, we kind of believe you now.
Maybe we'll see. I don't know.
Yeah,
I mean, look,
it's going to be hard. I mean, I didn't pay as close attention to the trials, so I don't know.
I didn't really at that point. I did. Yeah. I listened to all of the damn OJ trial. But anyway, So it's just interesting that it's back. We've come full circle, and the Menendez boys are back in the news.
Some things never go away. December 17th, the television series The Simpsons premieres on Fox as a full animated series with the episode Simpsons Roasting on an Open Fire.
And the world was now complete.
35 years later, it's still running.
I love it. All of you
great,
jerks that say, The Simpsons should have been canceled years ago. You're not watching it.
Yeah.
They have they always have a renaissance of new writers that bring something new to The Simpsons, and I watch every week. I've never missed an episode of The Simpsons. Nice. And I will say I can count on one hand a number of episodes that I don't like.
Right.
And that's out of 700 episodes or something.
800 now, I think. It's a lot.
I'm looking at you, Lisa, episodes. I'm just kidding. Some of them. But yeah.
Some of them are pretty funny.
In my opinion, greatest television series of all time.
Yeah.
My favorite of all time. I love The Simpsons so much.
December 22nd, Tango Cash is released in theaters.
Tango.
And Cash. Yeah. If it's not Tango, it's Cash. If it's not, he literally says Tango Cash like 18,000 times during the movie.
He does, and he's got his little mice or rats or whatever they are.
So Tango Cash started life as a script from Randy Feldman called The Setup.
There's been like 8 movies called The Setup since then.
I'm assuming because it was, these 2 hotshot cops getting arrested.
And set up?
Set up for murder.
Nice.
Yeah. Randy Feldman had only had one movie made previously. It was called Hell Night, released in 1981. Do you remember Hell Night?
Well, it's like a Christmas thingy, right?
No. It was a fraternity hazing movie or technically sorority hazing movie. They had to spend the night in a haunted house.
I'm sure I saw it.
Yeah, it was. Probably.
As a young boy watching sorority horror movies, I think I saw quite a few.
Feldman had just graduated from UC Berkeley and had written Hell Night over 5 weeks, being inspired by Black Christmas from 1974.
Okay.
It was only altered slightly before production, but otherwise the original script he wrote was what ended up on screen.
Nice. That's very rare.
And very much the opposite of Tango Cash. The movie had become a cult classic, mixing fraternity hazing and a haunted house vibe. It was also the first horror movie that Linda Blair starred in after Exorcist II: The Heretic in 1977.
Come on, guys. This isn't funny. Come on. What's going on? Where is everybody? This is not cool, guys. Stop hazing.
It's supposedly a really good movie. It's got a huge cult movie now.
Sure.
So, like, I'm pretty sure I think you can find it on Shudder.
That's why I played a clip of it.
Yeah, that was, yes.
Come on, guys.
That was actually a clip from the B movie Heck Night. To give you an idea of Randy Feldman's writing prowess, he later would be hired to rewrite a character piece written by Richard Marquand and Joe Esterhaus that was being turned into a vehicle for Jean-Claude Van Damme in 1995.
All right.
The movie was Nowhere to Run, which, despite mixed reviews, would earn $65 million and become a cult classic for JCVD fans.
That's a good one. That's the one with... Patricia Arquette? No. The other Arquette. Rosanna Arquette.
Rosanna is she's a single mom out in a rural farmhouse. Yeah. JCVD is in a prison bus and it gets overturned and he runs away and then he ends up helping her. It's actually not a bad movie.
No, I mean, look, in terms of JCVD movies, that's in the upper echelon.
The unfortunate thing was that the movie that Richard Marquand and Joe Esterhaus wanted to make was a character piece, not an action movie. And unfortunately, Richard Marquand was dead at that point.
Okay.
He had a heart attack, I think, in like 89.
Yikes.
But Joe Esterhaus hated this movie. Well,
Joe Esterhaus wrote Showgirls.
He did. I know.
Joe Esterhaus
he wrote some other decent movies.
Which ones?
I don't remember now.
Basic Instinct?
No, before that, I think there was something in the early 80s. The thing that kind of put him on anyway.
Sophie's Choice?
Yeah, Sophie's Choice.
Remember when he wrote Sophie's Choice?
No. Yes, it was great. There just wasn't. They took out all the dancing. That was the only bad part. So anyway,
Joe Esterhaus is the like stereotypical epitome of the '80s writer.
Yeah,
it's all sex and action. And
I mean, it's not
devoid of plot.
It's not. The point is that they took a script that he really enjoyed and they turned it into a Jean-Claude Van Damme action movie.
Maybe that's what happened.
Yes, I mean, they did. Like, that's what happened.
Joe Esterhaus is a weird-looking dude.
So JCVD said of the movie...
The script was not that good. The writer told me he was going to fix everything. I was in his house. He shook my hand. He promised me. But he didn't fix it.
Yeah, so even after they released the movie, Jean-Claude Van Damme was like, the script was terrible. But it's still... I remember this being a very entertaining movie.
It was, I get it, though, because it could have been... more of a character.
I see how it could be a character
JCVD,
drama. Yeah,
give him more to do than just the splits.
Right. Yeah, in the barn doing the splits and kicking guys in the face.
I really like Jean-Claude Van Damme.
I do too.
He's an interesting guy.
He's a fascinating dude.
Been through it. He has been through it.
The movie JCVD, the quote-unquote biography of him, is such a brilliant movie.
Oh, yeah.
It's so brilliant.
That's like he's trapped in a bank or something with, he's like a hostage or something.
No. This is just him, like, filming movies and stuff. There's a great sequence where he's shooting and he gets on the camera crane and, like, it's focused on his face and the shot goes up and it's like him doing this long monologue where it, like, flows around the set. It's really good. Anyway, it was done very well. I very much enjoyed that movie. The setup from Randy Feldman was based on an idea from Hollywood super producers John Peters and Peter Goober.
Peters and Goober.
I just love that his name is Peter Goober. He's also one of the richest men in Hollywood now.
Yeah, because you got a lot to prove when your name is Goober.
Yeah. John Peters was born in Van Nuys in 1945, but his father died when he was 8, and he did not particularly like the man his mother remarried.
Interesting.
Funny how that works.
Yeah, I wonder. I wouldn't know anything about that.
No. At the age of 10, he appeared as an extra in Cecil B. DeMille's The Ten Commandments. At 12, he was expelled from school and forced to join a reformatory.
Nice.
At 14, he ran away from home in Van Nuys and ended up in New York City, getting a job dyeing women's pubic hair.
What?
Yep.
At 14?
Yep. As a hairdresser, he ended up taking a job dyeing women's pubic hair.
What?
Yep. Welcome to New York City. Here's your dye. Get to work.
What?
Yeah. He would eventually move back to Los Angeles and open up salons, take over his uncle's salon, and eventually met Barbra Streisand while making a wig for her for her 1974 film For Pete's Sake.
A pubic wig?
No, it
wasn't
a hair wig. It wasn't a merkin.
It wasn't a merkin?
It was a hair wig.
Well, I thought he was dyeing her pubes.
No, he moved on from that.
He moved up?
First job.
Moved up from that, Adam?
Yes, he moved
to the
just
head?
about 3 feet north. Yeah.
Dad jokes.
Peters and Streisand would start a long romantic relationship, but never married.
Okay.
When they first met, Peters was in his second marriage to actor Leslie Ann Warren.
I like her.
Yeah, it's really amazing how many people he has married that were very famous.
Right. Must be a charmer.
They would divorce, They would divorce in 1975, 2 years after Streisand and Peters became involved. Peters would actually be married 3 more times over the years. His latest was to Pamela Anderson in 2020 at the age of 74, but it was annulled that same year.
All right.
Yeah. Sue Mengers, the famous Hollywood talent agent who unleashed hairdresser Peters onto Hollywood, said of Peters,
"He's like trying to withstand a hurricane. If it weren't for John, I'd be 20 years younger."
yeah, he seems like the kind of guy that you don't really want to hang out with.
But that is the 80s archetype of the a-hole filmmaker or
God,
producer. You
sure
got
is.
Joel Silver, you
Yeah.
got this guy, you've got Esterhaus,
Bruckheimer.
you got the Scotts.
Yeah.
Well, mostly Tony Scott. Ridley's doing his own thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, you got a lot of big... big personalities,
yeah,
but it's
yeah.
just basically excusing a bunch of horrible a-hole behavior
Yeah,
because
yeah,
they
exactly.
make money.
Because Peters produced both Streisand's studio album Butterfly in 1974 and her remake film of A Star Is Born in 1976.
Chris Jefferson.
Yeah. He produced The Eyes of Lower Mars in 1978, directed by Irvin Kershner, and The Main Event in 1979, starring Barbra Streisand and Ryan O'Neal.
That is a guilty pleasure of mine.
The Main Event?
I had a huge Ryan O'Neal talent crush
Oh,
as a
yeah.
kid. And this is like she's a boxing promoter
Yeah,
and he's a
yeah.
boxer. There's a string of comedies that she did that I actually really like. I love
Yeah,
this.
she's very
What's
talented.
Up, Doc is
Yeah.
really good. Her comedies were really fun, when she
Yeah.
first started out. And she's a very talented person.
Oh, very, very talented.
I have no qualms about Barbra
Being
Streisand. I know she's a diva and all that, but if anybody's
Yeah.
earned it, I suppose she has.
Yeah, you're a Babs fan. It's okay. Executive.
Well, that sounded a little backhanded.
No, it's fine. She's really good. I don't know as much of her catalog as I should, so I need to go back and watch some more.
Well, it's all Broadway.
I know. Oh, I know. That's just the musical thing.
Da, 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 da.
So Peters executive produced Caddyshack, but in exchange for getting his profits for the film, he was forced to join Polygram Pictures in 1980, but then was fired 2 years later to form the Goober Peters Company with his friend Peter Goober.
Goober.
Peter Goober wrote... It could be Goober. I don't even know how to say it. I'm going to call him Goober. Peter Goober grew up in Boston, the son of a junk business owner.
Okay. Oh,
He sold junk,
okay.
like he bought junk and sold junk. He would meet his wife during college at Syracuse while on a year abroad in Italy. Goober enrolled at New York University, where he earned his JD and LLM law degrees, studying for his MBA at night. He was a bit of an overachiever.
Yeah.
As he neared graduation in 1968, Goober accepted a position with Columbia Pictures as a management trainee.
Yeah. The thing is, all of these executive positions, all of these higher-up positions were all people from Ivy League colleges
Yeah.
that have business degrees, lawyer degrees,
Yeah,
law
they're-
degrees,
lawyer
law
degrees.
degrees.
Yeah.
It's when I worked at when I interned for Corman, everybody that worked for him was Harvard, Yale.
MBAs and
Oh my God, the smartest people in the
JDs,
world.
yeah,
My friend's
yeah.
sister was brilliant. Who I think she was his assistant, and she was an amazing brain.
Right. Goober launched his career as an independent film producer with The Deep in 1977, which became one of the highest-grossing films of the year.
God, that film comes up all the time.
It does. Goober also bought the rights and served as executive producer for Midnight Express in 1978, adapted by Oliver Stone and directed by Alan Parker.
Yeah, man. Do not bring hash
No, don't.
into Morocco.
Do not.
Or
The
out of Morocco. I don't know.
It
Don't
was
deal
one
with
of them.
hash in Morocco.
Yeah, just don't do it. The film earned 7 Academy Award nominations, including Best Picture, making Goober a hot commodity in Hollywood. He would join Polygram Pictures before selling his share and starting the Goober Peters Company with John Peters.
Goober Peters.
The films on which Goober served as a producer or executive producer have earned more than $3 billion in worldwide revenue and more than 50 Academy Award nominations, including 4 Best Picture nominations.
Not bad.
That's a good track record. Goober's producing credits during this period include
Rain Man, Batman, Gorillas in the Mist, The Color Purple, Inner Space, The Witches of Eastwick, Flashdance, Missing, and American Werewolf in London.
Goober's also co-owner of 4 professional sports teams, the Golden State Warriors, the Los Angeles Dodgers, the Los Angeles Football Club, and the professional esports organization Axiomatic Gaming, with a controlling interest in one of the world's premier esports franchises, Team Liquid.
Translation? He's a billionaire.
He's got a lot of money. Along with producing Tango Cash in 1989, they also produced Batman, directed by Tim Burton and starring Michael Keaton.
Nice.
Peters and Goober signed Sylvester Stallone and Patrick Swayze to star in Tango and Cash.
Pain don't hurt.
Yeah, pain don't hurt. They hired Andrei Konchalovsky to direct the film in March of 1989. Konchalovsky was a Soviet movie director who had been working in the USSR for 2 decades before making his Hollywood directing debut in 1984 with Maria's Lovers, starring Natasha Kinski, John Savage, and Robert Mitchum.
Okay.
In 1985, Ned Tannen of Paramount Pictures wanted to hire Konchalovsky to direct The Godfather Part 3, but the other executives of Paramount Pictures concluded the film could not be made without Francis Ford Coppola and Mario Puzo's involvement.
Yes. That'd be like making Return of the Jedi with a Russian filmmaker.
Yeah.
You know.
With no George Lucas at all. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. Konchalovsky would direct...
And we saw what that happened with the trilogy afterwards when you got rid of George. That's
Well, I mean, he got rid of himself.
Well, also, I don't know if anybody could have done much worse than Coppola did with Godfather 3.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, maybe he should have directed it. Konchalovsky would direct Runaway Train in 1985 based on a script by Japanese director Akira Kurosawa, who had written it as an adaptation of Dostoevsky's House of the Dead.
That's a really good movie.
I've never seen it.
I saw Runaway Train, Laser Tag Larry. So sorry, Larry. That's your nickname. He and I went skiing, and we stayed overnight at, a motel or whatever.
Right.
And Runaway Train was on the free HBO.
Oh, nice.
We watched that.
Nice.
Quite enjoyed it.
Nice.
Back before John Voight became Looney Loons.
Yeah. So in addition to John Voight, Eric Roberts, and Rebecca De Mornay, it also was the debut of Danny Trejo and Tiny Lister.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
I was in a movie with Tiny Zeus Lister.
He was great.
Nice
guy. He's a nice guy, yeah. In 1987, he directed and co-wrote Shy People, starring Barbara Hershey, Jill Clayburgh, and Martha Plimpton.
Okay.
1989 also saw the release of Homer and Eddie, directed by Konchalovsky, starring Whoopi Goldberg and Jim Belushi, about a homicidal escaped mental patient with a brain tumor with only a month to live who meets a childlike mentally challenged man that becomes her traveling companion for a cross-country car trip that brings unexpected meaning to both of their lives.
It's a weird movie, man.
I really want to see this movie because in that description, I would think that it would be Jim Belushi as the homicidal maniac, but it's not.
No, he's actually, I don't know. It's been a long time since I've seen this, but
yeah,
it's interesting if I remember correctly.
I have never heard of this movie. I think we've talked about it before or mentioned it before because of either Goldberg or Belushi. No, it was because it was Anne Ramsey's last movie.
Right.
That's what it was.
People forget that Whoopi Goldberg was a huge star.
Oh my God, she was in. I love Jumpin' Jack Flash. Like her and Ted Danson together were some great movies.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Made in America, was that the one with Ted Danson? But the car.
Yeah, I think yes, I think so.
That's
they were in a couple together. Yeah, yeah. So they cast Sylvester Stallone as Lieutenant Raymond Ray Tango, the best cop in West Los Angeles.
The best cop in West Los Angeles.
Stallone had just come off a string of poorly reviewed or box office bombs. Cobra in 1986, written by Sly, which made a ton of money but was reviled by the critics.
My name is Cobretti.
Also had a lot of production problems.
Yeah, it's because I kept having the matchstick in my mouth.
Cobra was actually the movie that was... Oh, God, now I don't remember. It was supposed to be... It was originally something else, and then Stallone had changed the script so much that they turned it into Cobra.
Right, I think it was like a sequel or something?
It was, yeah, I don't remember. Anyway.
That was where he either met or Bridget Nielsen, his wife.
Yeah. Over the Top in 1987, co-written by Sly, which was a box office bomb and was scorched by the critics.
I'm with my son, okay? I'm driving my Peterbilt truck. I'm a trucker. But my main passion, is arm wrestling. So I'm going to arm wrestle for my son.
Welcome.
Who's custody? If I don't win this, I don't get custody.
This is literally the most 80s movie ever. It is a huge guilty pleasure for me. It is not a good movie.
You know how I'm, I'm in, you know how you know I mean business. I turn my baseball cap around. When it's backwards, that means I'm ready for.
He does the like hand thing where he
little
goes.
wiggle
He
fingers.
goes over. He
Over
goes
the top.
over the top.
Over the top, Adam.
Yeah.
Over the top.
Yeah.
That movie is garbage.
It is terrible, but it's a guilty pleasure. It was something that my friend Damien and I made fun of constantly when we were young.
I guess we'll have to do, and it's probably going to be more than 1 month, but Stallone's crap. We could do that and Stop or My Mom Will Shoot.
Yeah. Rambo 3.
Any of the Rambos after First Blood.
Rambo 3 was in 88. It was directed by Peter McDonald and co-written by Sly, which made money but had scathing reviews.
I'm going to fight the Afghanistan war all by myself.
Critics hated it.
I have a lot of arrows with explosives.
Lock-Up in 1988, directed by John Flynn, of which Sly said about the movie,
Not a film that was produced to perform with enough maturity to make a significant impact on the audience or my career. And that's the truth.
yeah, he wasn't a fan of the movie.
Look, this was the time where everybody had to do an I'm in Jail movie. You had Innocent Man with Tom Selleck.
Yeah.
You had this.
Yeah, this kind of made fun of all that. Like, it wasn't... Yeah, anyway. It was a very much heightened version
But
of
I
that.
think where they were trying, at least they were trying to do like a serious prison film. But then it just got out of control, and it turned into another Sylvester Stallone poo fest.
Yeah. So the glasses that Sylvester Stallone wears in the movie are actually his own. They're not props. He usually wears contact lenses.
Interesting. There's very 80s lenses.
And I'm going to end that of the Sylvester Stallone stuff because we've talked about him ad nauseum in every other episode that he's ever been in.
I feel a little short-sighted.
Yeah.
There's a lot more. Look, I think there's a lot more written about Kurt Russell.
Yeah, there is.
Oh, hey, what do you got against me?
Yeah, well, we've covered you many times. So the cast, Kurt Russell is Lieutenant Gabriel Gabe Cash, the best cop in East Los Angeles.
Tango Cash.
Like I said before, Patrick Swayze was originally set to star as Cash, but left the project to appear in Roadhouse.
Okay, good for him.
I mean, another good fun movie.
Exactly.
Like,
And honestly, he would have been fine, but he wouldn't have brought the fun that Kurt Russell did.
Agreed.
I mean, he's a lot of fun, but he also has a very grounded kind of
More
reality
serious
to
side,
him.
yeah. Yeah, it seemed very much that there were elements, creative filmmakers in this movie that wanted to be much more goofy, and I think Russell was like, all right, let's
He's
just
game,
go with
man.
that. Like,
the guy's
whatever.
been in the business forever.
Russell actually started as a child actor, making an uncredited appearance in It Happened at the World's Fair in 1963 as the boy who kicks Elvis in the leg.
Hi, you little pisher. That hurt.
He made appearances in The Fugitive, The Virginian, Gunsmoke, and Gilligan's Island before getting a 10-year contract with Disney in 1966 at the age of 10.
Oh, my God. I remember seeing him on Gilligan's Island being like, is that Kurt Russell?
Yeah. He was so tiny and so cute.
Yes.
He appeared in a number of movies and TV shows before starring in The Computer Wore Tennis Shoes in 1969.
I had a friend growing up that looked exactly like a young Kurt Russell.
Oh, really?
Oh, my God. So much so that it was eerie.
Weird.
Like a 10, like a little
Yeah,
boy.
yeah,
like
yeah.
a little boy Kurt Russell.
Little boy Kurt Russell.
Poor kid got into a lot of shenanigans. He might have died.
Okay, great.
Yay!
He followed that up with The Barefoot Executive in 1971, both of which were huge successes. He stopped apparently appearing in movies with titles with feet in them.
Well, people got a little weird about his feet after that.
Russell actually started playing minor league baseball in 1971 before tearing a rotator cuff in 1973, ending his baseball career, and returning to acting in 1974, proving that thus, yet again,
Acting is the easiest job in the world. When it is the backup career for both
it's your
models and
fallback athletes.
And then no offense to models and athletes, okay? But if that's their fallback, come on, man.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah. In 1979, he played Elvis in Elvis, directed by John Carpenter.
Yes, I did.
He was actually nominated for an Emmy for his
So
role.
weird that John Carpenter directed that.
Yeah, I know. It was good. It started their long collaboration.
My favorite part was when the zombies came out and Elvis had to get them.
I think it was John Carpenter trying to prove the fact that he didn't just do horror movies.
Good for him.
Yeah.
He could do anything he wants.
He then transitioned to being a major Hollywood star, working with Carpenter 4 more times in Escape from New York in 1981,
Excellent.
The Thing in 1982,
My favorite horror movie ever.
yeah, Big Trouble in Little China in 1986,
Top 5. Love that movie more than anything.
Escape from L.A. in 1996,
Crickets. Crickets.
a sequel that did not need to happen.
No, or did not need to happen the way that it did.
No,
It was so it was the epitome of what was wrong with 90s movies.
Yeah.
Which were these horrible sequel cash grab garbage films that came out and just were insults to the original.
Kurt Russell actually co-wrote Escape from L.A., which I did not know.
All right.
Stick the acting.
I mean, there's a few things in there. The
surfing?
Well, no, that was awful with Peter Fonda. But I really thought that Bruce Campbell as the plastic surgeon, that whole bit was really creepy and cool.
It's not as good. Obviously, not going to be anywhere near as good as Escape from New York, but it was fun to revisit the character.
It's also one of those movies that, as time goes on and more horrible movies that are much more horrible come out, it kind of softens it and makes it less horrible and a little bit more quaint. It's more of like a quaint watch.
So Russell's had a long career, most recently being seen in Monarch, Legacy of Monsters with his son Wyatt, and a soon-to-be-released crime thriller, The Rivals of Amzia King, starring Matthew McConaughey.
All right. You know what's really funny is his son Wyatt was also an athlete, had no desire to be an actor at all, was a professional hockey player.
Yeah.
Then got an injury just like his old man and was like, you know what? I'll just join the family business. It'll be easy. And then he's Captain America.
Yeah, well, U.S. agent.
Although it was really fun to watch Monarch
with them together.
Yes, and it was really fun to watch them play the same character. And
that's cool. Yeah.
He looks so much like his dad.
Oh, it's so creepy.
It's crazy
how much he looks like his dad.
And it's fun to watch them because they did a lot of press together for the show, and it's really fun to watch them interviewed because Kurt is just such a beaming dad. You know,
he's so proud
of his son, and his son's really funny, and they have the exact same laugh. You know, when their heads go back and they're all tooth, all giant. Oh, God, it's wonderful.
That's one of my absolute favorite things ever in movies is Kurt Russell yelling his lines at someone.
Listen, lady. I love him. I know it probably wasn't great or whatever for them, but part of me wishes I grew up with Goldie Hawn and Kurt Russell as my parents.
I know. Oh, it would, yeah.
Because I love both of them so much.
There's so much, yeah.
And to me, when they got together, because I adore Goldie Hawn. She was my favorite actor, for many, many years. And when they got together, I was just so happy.
Yeah.
Because I felt like I knew them. And the two of my favorites, I'm like, perfect. There's a perfect couple. Nice. A perfect couple, those two.
Yeah, they're great. They're really great.
So good looking, too.
They are. They produce some very good looking kids.
True
Terry Hatcher was cast as Catherine Kiki Tango, a club dancer and drummer, and Tango's younger sister who rents a room in his house.
Did you sleep with my sister?
With the weirdest performance I've ever seen in a club.
Oh, God. It is so messy and sloppy and
so bizarre.
It's like, okay, we don't really have time. We have the space, but we don't have any time to really work anything out.
Yeah.
So let's just play the music. Terry, come out. You were a cheerleader.
Yeah.
Weren't you a cheerleader once? Yeah. Just come out and just do some moves. And then at some point, the bartender will forget to give you your drumsticks and be super apologetic for 3 minutes, wasting the entire time, making it even longer of a wait.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so sorry. It's my bad. I didn't mean to do it. Oh, do you want these sticks? Should I give you these sticks? I shouldn't have given them. I should have given them to you a while ago. I'm so sorry. My bad. And then she gets up there. And she starts playing these, drum pads.
Yeah, these like synth drum pads.
Everything no more did people use real drums. It was all drum machines and drum pads back then because I had drum pads back then.
The epitome of the late 80s.
And so, boom.
She did not drum along at all.
I don't even. They must have been playing a different song in playback because the whole sequence just makes her look like a clod.
It's so
She looks
bad.
so sloppy dancing. And this is not her fault at all.
No.
I blame the director and the choreographer 100% because she is a graceful woman. But it makes her look like the worst dancer.
How is she this popular? How is she so popular that she has posters hanging on people's walls?
And what kind of club? What is it? What kind of, you said, my favorite quote is we're watching this and you're like, at 10 years old, I even knew then, she should take her top off. Because it's basically a stripper without stripping in this giant club. And it's like, if I, because you're probably paying $20, which back then is a lot of money to get into a club.
Yeah.
Cover charge. And you get in there and this is the entertainment. I'd be like, what am I watching? This is insane.
It was so silly. So Hatcher actually...
But it works.
It did, I mean, yeah. Hatcher studied acting at the American Conservatory Theater.
Okay.
One of her early jobs in 1984 was an NFL cheerleader with the San Francisco 49ers.
Oh, yeah. That's where she got her great moves.
Cheerleading does not equal dancing.
Well, apparently not. I think we've proven that with Terry Hatcher.
From September 1985 to May 1986, she joined the cast of the TV series The Love Boat as Amy, one of the mermaid showgirls.
Yeah, I remember that.
I don't remember that at all. I never got that far in my rewatch of Love Boat because that's much later in the show.
I honestly didn't think that it was on when I was in high school. It's really bizarre.
It was that was like, I think by that point it was like the 7th or 8th season.
This is back. Yeah, this is where we got McGinley.
Yeah,
the show killer.
Yeah. Her role mainly involved dancing and singing as part of the mermaid show routine, but she had a short comedic lines in some episodes, and in one episode was part of one of the 3 storylines opposite a male guest star.
Good for her.
So, I mean, good for her, yeah. I mean, she started essentially as a background actor and worked her way up.
Yeah, well, she's very beautiful.
Yeah. From 1986 to 1989, she appeared in 6 episodes of the TV series MacGyver as talkative but naive Penny Parker opposite Richard Dean Anderson.
All right, get me a banana peel, 2 paper clips, and the nose of a newt, and I will build you a bomb.
Great. She would make a number of TV appearances before getting her first feature film role. She was in 5 episodes of Capital, a soap opera running from 86 to 87, or she was in it from 86 to 87. 13 episodes of Karen's Song, a Patty Duke sitcom in 1987.
Don't remember that one.
Nope. And guest appearances in Night Court, Star Trek The Next Generation, LA Law, Quantum Leap, and Murphy Brown.
Yeah, we just saw her on The Leap.
Yeah, it was great. I was kind of sad she wasn't in more of it. Her first feature was The Big Picture in 1989, starring Kevin Bacon with a directing debut by Christopher Guest.
This movie is the greatest example of independent film versus Hollywood.
Yeah.
To this day, it stands out because nothing has changed. No. And she is so great. This was like her breakout because she got to play kind of the ingenue.
Right.
That was just so manipulative.
It's such a good movie.
It's such a great movie. Kevin Bacon plays this little indie guy who makes this short that becomes huge. And so Hollywood comes a knocking. It's got Martin Short. It's got everybody in it. And
such a good movie.
It is so amazing. I can't wait for us to cover this.
Well, yeah, we'll definitely.
But it's such an underrated and forgotten film that I think probably Hollywood tried to bury it because it's such a scathing truth bomb.
So on the nose, yeah.
But if you have any chance to see this movie, it is amazing. It's it's the precursor to Christopher Guest's improv movies.
Yeah.
It's to Best in Show and all that stuff. It's just it is such a great little film, and it is so whip smart.
Yeah, it's very good, very good. Originally, the part of Catherine, Tango's sister, was to be played by Daphne Ashbrook.
Who's that?
I actually don't know. Okay. I looked her up, and I did not recognize anything she was in.
All right.
She was not supposed to be Tango's biological sister, but possibly an adopted sister or a foster child his parents took in.
Sounds a little overly complicated.
Yeah, exactly. But when they decided to make her his actual sister, which they should have done from the beginning, they recast the role of Terry Hatcher, who more resembles Stallone.
Except for the fact she's 20 years younger than him.
Yeah, well, sometimes parents do that. Hatcher would go on to star in Lois and Clark, The New Adventures of Superman, playing Lois for 87 episodes between 93 and 97.
Is that who's the Superman on that?
Dean Cain.
Dean Cain.
I loved that show.
Sure.
I loved that show.
It was great.
It was such an interesting take on, because it was mostly more about their relationship and him working in at the Daily Planet. Unfortunately, Dean Cain has become a douchebag.
Well, a lot of these white male actors, these quoties, I'm doing the quoties, tough guys.
Yeah, I know.
They get super, super sad when you stop paying attention to them, Adam. And he makes them really mad.
Yeah.
And then they hate everybody because they don't pay attention to me anymore.
Yeah.
So you know what I'm going to do, Adam? I'm going to make an announcement that I'm moving out of California.
Yeah. And crickets.
Exactly. Good riddance, Dean Cain.
Terry Hatcher would also appear in 180 episodes of Desperate Housewives from 2004 to 2012.
Yeah, I never watched that.
Did not know. Never watched it either. Did not know it was 180 episodes long.
Everybody loved that show. It's supposed to be really good.
I've heard the first 4 seasons are pretty good, and then it kind of goes down.
That's the Wisteria Lane one.
Yeah.
I remember seeing that at Universal. We're
Oh,
driving down Wisteria Lane.
Here's Wisteria Lane. Yeah. They don't point it out as much anymore.
She was also in a very I'm sorry. She was also in a very popular episode of Seinfeld.
She was. Actually, the funny thing is that a lot of the actors in this movie appeared on Seinfeld within the next 3 years.
I was on Seinfeld. Everybody
crazy.
was on Seinfeld.
Yeah. Jack Palance was cast as Yves Perret, who apparently is supposed to be French, I think.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, that's French accent.
accent.
He's the crime lord of Southern California who arranges for Tango and Cash to be framed for murder. Palance was actually born Vladimir Palinuk in Pennsylvania, the son of Ukrainian immigrants.
Yeah, he looks like his face looks like a Ukrainian immigrant.
He does. Palance was one of 6 children and started working in coal mines during his youth before becoming a professional boxer in the late 1930s.
And that's what turned his face into a rock.
Oh my God. Boxing under the name Jack Brazzo, Palinuk lost his only recorded match in a 4-round decision on points. It was from a guy who eventually became heavyweight champion.
Oh, wow.
That or he at least vied for it. Years later, he recounted...
Then I thought, you must be nuts to get your head beat for $200. The theater seemed a lot more appealing.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, you don't really get beat. You make more money.
He served as a bomber pilot in World War II and was awarded a Purple Heart for head injuries and burns he sustained in 1943 crash.
Dude, it's insane.
Yeah, he has lived a life. Palance won a football scholarship to the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill, but left after 2 years, disgusted by the commercialization of the sport.
They started making us wear helmets.
I love the fact that he then just went to Hollywood, which is
the
over
opposite.
commercialized. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I guess if you're lean into the one.
Might as well make because he probably wasn't going to be able to make the money. Yeah,
he is a fascinating dude.
Yeah. After the war, Palance enrolled at Stanford to study journalism, but switched to drama. He left just 1 credit shy of gaining a degree to pursue an acting career.
Okay.
He left with 1 credit to go.
I've learned enough.
I could just see him being like, it doesn't matter.
I'm ready for my career.
His acting break came as Marlon Brando's understudy in A Streetcar Named Desire on Broadway, and he eventually replaced Brando on stage as Stanley Kowalski.
Stella!
I mean, that tells you anything about his acting chops, because Brando is amazing.
Well, he is too. I mean, look, he definitely became a parody of himself.
Yeah, but that was his third act, I mean...
Well, his third act was actually gaining respect after winning the Oscar from... Because the City Slickers came out after this, right? Yeah, so he became more respected again, but he was such a weirdo that it's like you couldn't contain him. You remember him doing 1-arm push-ups
on
the Oscars.
Stage. Yeah.
It's like...
he's 85 years old, and he's just like...
You got nothing to prove, buddy.
He was bench pressing Dom DeLuise.
Look, I can get you, Dom.
Yeah. Palance made his big screen debut in Panic in the Streets in 1950, directed by Elia Kazan, who had directed Streetcar on Broadway.
Oh, yeah.
Surprisingly enough, he played a gangster.
Yes.
Palance was second billed in just his third film opposite Joan Crawford in the thriller Sudden Fear in 1952. His character is a former coal miner, as Palance's father had been. He actually received an Oscar nomination for Best Supporting Actor for the part.
Oh, yeah. He had a whole career before this.
He was nominated in the same category the following year for his role as hired gunfighter Jack Wilson in Shane in 1953.
Come back, Shane.
Yeah. The film was a huge hit, making Palance a household name. Palance said that when he first got the script for Tango and Cash, he was in a ton of movies, obviously, between then.
Before Tango and Cash, there was also a period where he was in like these really weird, and this happened to a lot of these actors. Instead of like B movies, like bad B movies in America, they would do these weird European sex films.
Yeah.
Where, they would just have these parts. And it was just always weird to see Jack Palance like sitting there. There's one movie that he was in, I forget the name of it, but he's just like sitting there. And he's got like a naked woman on him. He's just like brushing her nipple with his thumb. And it's just so creepy.
Yeah, there was a period of like 10 years in the late 60s, 70s where he just did international movies.
Yeah.
Like it was, because he was a big star in the 50s and then he wasn't getting the parts. So.
It's like William Shatner, too. He got into those gross films. I mean, it's just your career. It's just astounding to me that these guys weather these career droughts and then come back and become huge stars again. It's really remarkable, the second and third act that Palance and guys like him have had.
Yeah. Palance said that when he first got the script for Tango and Cash, he was really excited about doing the movie since he had 3 nice scenes with Sylvester Stallone. But as soon as filming started, all his scenes with Stallone were cut, and he didn't even see Stallone for the entire movie.
I thought I was going to be in scenes with him.
I just love the fact that he wanted to act with Stallone.
Well, if you're not going to let me act with Stallone, I'm going to have a rat named Tango and a rat named Cash.
Yeah, he actually came up with the idea of his character using the rats during a visit to an LA petting zoo with his grandchild several weeks before filming. The director... Oh, just wait, it gets worse. The director and cast were surprised when Palance turned up for the read-through with 2 rats in a briefcase. No one was keen on the use of the rats metaphor, but Palance had already had the Perspex rat maze table made at his own expense.
Good Lord!
So no one felt they could challenge him. He literally... We made jokes while watching it about how, wow, Perret, you got a lot of time on your hands. Yeah, it's just Palance apparently had a lot of time on his hands.
It's because it's so Jack Palance's character comes out with his ornate box, and he's talking to James Hong, who was Quan, and
Mark something. Hold on, I know his name.
Mark Alamo.
Mark Alamo.
Mark Alamo is Lopez. Yeah. These are the two. So
there's the triad.
The east side and the west side.
Yeah.
One gets effed by Tango, one gets effed by Cash, and then the guy that runs it all is Jack Palance.
Yeah.
So he's got these 2 guys coming in to talk strategy.
Right. They just hang out together all the time.
Yeah, they just hang out in this ornate office, and he brings this box. And he opens up the box, and he pulls out 2 rats, Tango and Cash. And he's like, mushes them into his face and gives them all kisses and stuff. And then he puts them back in the box, and you're like, okay, that's weird. I think he's done. And he's No. After a few more weird lines, picks up the box, takes it over to a table with a plexiglass top to it. And then he's like, and then you don't kill them. You put them in the maze. And it's like, there's no real explanation of what the maze represents or what.
Well, it would have been a lot easier if he just said, hey, we're going to frame them for murder and put them in jail.
Yes.
What is... That's all he had to say. It went on for so long.
Mr. Perret, that's not really Tango and Cash, right? Those are rats.
Mr. Perret, we spent all this money on this rat maze, and we don't have enough money to buy bullets anymore.
While you were making the rat maze, Tango just got that whole truckload of cocaine. And he whipped him out all the time.
Oh, my God. Just constantly. Always with those rats.
Always had his rats and just was smooching on them and licking on them. It was so weird. I think he loved Tango and Cash.
Oh, I think he did too. I mean, I think without them, he was nobody.
Yes. Exactly.
So he wanted to keep him alive. He was secretly in love with both of them.
I am nothing without you.
Maybe he just was like a matchmaker, and he thought that the best thing was for them to get together. So
that's what we all thought, Adam. Especially in the shower scene when they kept talking about each other's wieners.
Hey, Pee-wee. So over the next 3 decades after his 50 stuff, he would star in over 50 movies. Part of the reason he got Tango and Cash was because while his star was somewhat fading in 81, he took the role of hosting Ripley's Believe It or Not for 2 TV specials.
Oh my God, Ripley's Believe It or Not.
It would get picked up and run for 4 seasons between 1982 and 86, with Palance hosting 77 episodes. And you know what's really funny?
Yeah.
He literally did nothing else during those 4 years.
Well, he didn't need to, man. We love that. I love that.
That show was done so well, I completely forgot that he hosted it.
Oh, because it added to all of it.
1972, a man.
I mean, it was just like everything was so creepers because of him.
So creepy.
It was such a weird time, too, because we had Ripley's Believe It or Not, hosted by him. Mm-hmm. We had In Search Of,
right,
with Leonard Nimoy, which was,
Oh, yeah.
In Search of Bigfoot, In Search of Loch Ness Monster.
In Search of UFOs.
In Search of, again, one of the biggest things in the 70s and 80s, spontaneous combustion, which everybody thought people just burst into flames. And there was that one person that just had a foot left.
Yeah, that famous picture.
And you also had Real People.
Right.
With all of those hosts, John Davidson and Mary Crosby and all of them. And it was just like these really weird, quote quotes, reality shows before reality shows, but they all had some weird kind of like cryptozoology bent or something
kind of
to
weird,
them.
Yeah, crypto mythology. Yeah.
But Ripley's was great because it would be the Siamese twins. It would just take the most salacious stuff out of Ripley's and have
so
Jack
great.
Palance just dripping with. Oh, so good. I want to. I gotta.
We need to find it.
Show,
Yeah, we gotta find it because it's so ridiculous, but it's so good.
Have to do a month. It's Ripley's, In Search of, and Real People. Yeah.
Yeah. So the success of this provided resurgence for his career, allowing him to go into a third act. Baghdad Cafe he was in, an indie that was a big international hit.
That was great.
And Gore, a fantasy science fiction film in 1987. 1988 saw him in Young Guns, I think he was playing a bad guy in that. He usually does. It's been a long time since I've seen Young Guns. He was also in Outlaw of Gore, the sequel to Gore.
I kind of remember Gore.
It's funny. I kind of do too, but I don't think I've seen it.
I know I did.
I don't think that anybody else that was in it was anyone of note.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Watch it on
YouTube. Was a weird science. Oh, of course you can watch it on YouTube.
What do you mean nobody else was in it? Urbano Barberini was in it.
Oh, you mean from Saturday Night Fever?
Oliver Reed was in it.
Oh, Oliver Reed was
one
in
of my
it.
favorite English drunks.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, it's on YouTube. You should watch it.
Oh, God.
In 1989, along with Tango Cash, he was also in Batman, directed by Tim Burton.
Oh, yeah. Playing
he wasn't the
mob boss.
Mob boss, yeah. I was going to say commissioner guy, but that's a mob boss.
Yeah, I forget. The guy that's been played by everybody.
Yeah. Oh, Falcone. It was Carmine Falcone.
Carmine Falcone, bring me Batman.
1991 saw his final Best Actor in a Supporting Role nomination, this time for City Slickers, and this time finally winning.
Yeah, it's Curly.
Yeah, it's such a good movie.
Nice little, nice little, convergence of shows because Billy Crystal from Running Scared.
Yeah.
And
I just love this. And at some point we'll cover City Slickers, but I just love the fact that it's about two guys that have a midlife crisis and they're 35.
Yeah. Bruno Kirby.
10 years beyond my midlife crisis, apparently.
Three guys, though. Bruno Kirby.
Guys. Oh, no, and
Daniel Stern.
Daniel Stern, that's right.
Very funny movie.
It was a great movie. It was done really well. It was very funny. His final role was in the TV movie Back When We Were Grown-Ups in 2004.
Can I just do something real quick?
Sure.
Sorry. Just a really quick speed bump because I need to do a quick little apology. So I've been bitching about Billy Crystal as an older man not being very funny. But, man, Jimmy Kimmel did a prank on his cousin who is like the booker of the show. Like she's assistant booker. She takes care of the guests, Freaking Billy Crystal pretends like he's got some...
Was that Billy Crystal?
Yes.
I watched
some disease
that.
where
I didn't realize that was Billy Crystal.
Oh, my God. Billy Crystal, I love him again because of that.
That was hilarious.
Hilarious.
Where he's like have to go throw up while she's on the phone with the president.
Oh, my God. She's like... How about a little bit of vodka? Just give me a little bit of vodka. It was so...
I literally did not... Because of the way they were shooting it was like the weird hidden camera thing. I had no idea that was Billy... I missed the very beginning.
If you watch this on YouTube, funny. Billy Crystal, you're back in my heart, baby. I apologize for everything I said.
He called it napolepsy.
Napolepsy! Oh, his poor cousin, too.
Oh, she's picked on so much.
Nice. She seems
but
like
it was funny.
Nice
it was really funny.
Oh, my God. I just wanted to give... props to Mr. Crystal. And
he's still a funny dude.
He make some good movies, buddy.
Yeah.
Because you still got it.
His final film, not Billy Crystal's, but Jack Palance's final film role was in the TV movie Back When We Were Grown-Ups in 2004. The movie was actually directed by Ron Underwood, who directed Tremors.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Palance passed away in 2006, surrounded by his friends and family at the age of 87.
It's a good run.
Yeah. Yeah, he was...
Hey, man... That guy had an amazing life. Amazing.
Crazy, amazing life.
Like one tiny iota of that life would be a whole life for somebody else.
Yeah.
And and everything he went through.
He did more stuff before he got into Hollywood than most people do in their entire life.
Well, that's what's so crazy. Like, back then, growing up in like the 30s and the 20s or whatever.
20s and 30s, yeah.
You could do anything.
Yeah.
It was just like, I was a Bible salesman, then I was a surgeon, then a lawyer, and then, it was like... law school cost 50 cents. It's like you could do anything.
On a whim, I joined law school. Yeah. Michael J. Pollard was cast as Owen, Cash's weapon engineer friend.
Yeah. Such
a weirdo. But he's so good, though. He's so good.
I love him.
Pollard broke into the Hollywood scene in Bonnie and Clyde in 1967.
Such a great movie.
Yeah.
Such a great part. Because he's not a little... Because they made him like this cute...
Right.
Like man boy in everything. When as he got older, he was just like, his little eyes looking around, and I don't know. He just wanted, you just want to give his little cheeks a little squeeze in because he's just so cute. He's a little cherub.
He is. He received Academy Award and Golden Globe Award nominations for Best Supporting Actor and won a BAFTA Award for Most Promising Newcomer to Leading Film Roles for the part in Bonnie and Clyde.
Right. Which
he was so good. Yeah.
Look, everybody was in that movie. Gene Hackman was in that movie.
Yeah.
Faye Dunaway and
Warren Beatty
are great in it. It is such.
It's just jam packed full of great actors. Yeah.
And it's just a really great movie.
Great movie, yeah. Pollard had a long career in Hollywood as a character actor. He had roles in Roxanne in 1987, a small part in Scrooged in 1988, where he freezes to death, and a part in Dick Tracy in 1990, working again with Warren Beatty. One of his last roles was in House of a Thousand Corpses in 2003.
Yeah.
Pollard died, unfortunately, on November 20th, 2019 from cardiac arrest at the age of 80.
Oh, he was so great. He was just... In his later years, he did play pretty much a variation of the same guy. But it was the guy... He always was the heart of a movie.
Yes.
He was the heart of Scrooged. He was...
You couldn't hate him. Like, he was so likable.
No. And in this, he's just, hey guys, just be careful with that. Guys.
When they're in the truck, and he's like, "Is there something you guys aren't telling me?
What's going on? What's going on?
What's that noise?
There's nothing fine. Don't pay attention."
But he's so proud of that truck when he wheels that truck and they get all giddy about it. He's so proud of it.
It's a prototype.
Yeah, he's so good. Random fact: I just found this out. Michael J. Fox, whose middle name is actually Andrew, added the J because Michael J. Pollard was one of his favorite character actors.
Nice.
Unfortunately, there was another Michael J. Fox in SAG already registered, or Michael A. Fox.
Yeah.
So he had to change his name, and he chose the J because of Michael J. Pollard.
Yeah, well, that's a great tribute to a great actor.
Yeah. Brian James was cast as Requin.
That's right.
I think I just got that joke.
Hi, governor.
I reckon you're going to kill me, eh?
Hi, governor.
He's ponytailed Cockney henchman and courier. James is best known as Leon Kowalski in Blade Runner in 1982.
What do you mean about my mother?
That was really good.
Thanks.
As James was growing up, his parents owned and operated a theater in Beaumont, California, allowing him an early film education.
Nice.
He's gone on record saying that it was like Cinema Paradiso. Like, I literally saw movies every day.
That's so great.
I'm so jealous. His first role was in 1975 in the made-for-television film The Kansas City Massacre, playing John Dillinger gang member Homer Van Meter.
Yeah.
When Brian James was originally hired to play Requin in Tango and Cash, it was a very small role with only 2 lines. In an effort to give the character something that would make him stand out, James decided to speak in a horrible Cockney accent.
That's right. Aye. Cup of tea.
Such a bad accent.
Hey, there's 3 of us up here.
Unfortunately, Sylvester Stallone loved it and literally rewrote the script to give Requin a much bigger role.
I think it's incredible.
Because that's just what Stallone does.
How do you do an accent? Are you really from England?
He was just confused and loved it.
Wait, you're not English?
The first time he didn't do the Cockney accent, he was so shocked that he wasn't English.
Bip, bip, cheerio. Teas and crumpets.
James appeared in over 100 movies and dozens of TV shows during his career. Some other well-known movies from Brian James: Southern Comfort in 1981, directed by Walter Hill, starring Keith Carradine and Powers Booth.
Great movie.
48 Hours in 1982, and its sequel, another 48 Hours in 1990.
Playing Kehoe.
Yeah.
I think that was his name.
That sounds right. We did cover 48 Hours, so go back in our archives. You can listen to that.
I think in another 48 Hours, he's like the bad guy, right?
I think he turns in the bad guy in the second one, yeah. Silverado in 1985, directed by Lawrence Kasdan, starring Kevin Kline, Scott Glenn, Danny Glover, and Kevin Costner.
Oh, such a good movie. Such a good
Great movie. Yeah. Red Heat in 1988, directed by Walter Hill, starring Arnold Schwarzenegger and Jim Belushi.
Oh, I'm from Russia.
That is the Arnold Schwarzenegger, Jim Belushi movie that we always think is the
Raw
other
Deal.
one, Raw Deal.
Vasily
we
Daniels.
couldn't think of what Raw Deal was in the last episode, or Red Heat was. Yeah. Anyway,
Oh,
very confusing with the same number of letters in the title.
Is this the one where I'm Russian?
I just didn't know that it was directed by Walter Hill. That just that surprised me.
Walter Hill directed a lot of stuff that wasn't good.
I remember
But a lot of stuff that was.
Red Heat was fine. I mean, it wasn't good, but it wasn't bad. I mean,
It was very mediocre.
it was very by the numbers.
Yeah.
Brian James was also in The Player in 1992, directed by Robert Altman.
Oh my God!
Another great Hollywood movie.
Yes, a great double feature would be The Big Picture and The Player, and you get to see Brian James play against type. He gets to play. I think he plays an executive or something.
Yeah,
and it is such a great role for him. And again, he is such a great actor. This horrible accent notwithstanding, that I always, me, character actors are my favorite.
Your bread and butter.
Yes, those are most of my talent crushes are character actors, not leading men or women. And I love when these solid, amazing character actors get to do something different, and you're like, wow, that guy can do anything. And look, Brian James has a very unique look that doesn't lend itself to be playing doctors, lawyers, or whatever.
He very much looks like a bad guy.
Yes, but he transcended that in a lot of his roles, and that's what made him just such a solid, great character actor.
From what I can tell, he was a very affable dude and was like very likable and off screen besides playing the bad guys all the time. But he realized he was pigeonholed as being a bad guy, and he just went with it. He was like, that's fine. Like, I'm going to have fun regardless.
Yeah, but then later, The Fifth Element, which you're just
I mean, he's so good in The Fifth Element. Like, it's such a funny part.
He's so likable because he's like, oh, well, what are you? He wants to.
Yeah.
The whole. First of all, Fifth Element is a great movie.
Great movie.
One of the best Bruce Willis movies ever, and Luc Besson. That and Leon the Professional are like the two amazings. But again, I love nuanced parts. When you have an actor that a lot of time is just playing a very stereotypical, henchman or bad guy, to get him to see him with a little bit of flavor and to get to do something a little different, like I said, it just goes to show why this guy's always cast.
Unfortunately, he died in 1999 at the age of 54 after suffering a heart attack at his home in Malibu.
I remember that. It was heartbreaking.
It's so sad. 54 is too young. He appeared in 5 feature films that were released posthumously. That is how much the man worked. Yeah, it's just a shame. James Hong was cast as Quan, the Los Angeles Triad leader and associate of Peretz.
My God, this mother effer to this day is still doing a ton of stuff. He's in the new Kung Fu Panda movie. Yeah, he looks like he's exactly the same. He doesn't look like he's 106 years old or however old he must be.
He's not that old. He's 95.
Oh, okay. So yes, way off.
Yeah, he's an actor, producer, director. He's been working in Hollywood since the 50s as one of the most prolific character actors of all time. We've talked about James Hong a number of times. So
my God.
Check out our Big Trouble in Little China episode.
Yeah.
Along with, I'm pretty sure we mentioned him at least 2 other times.
Sure. We love him.
Oh, he's fantastic. In 2020, Daniel Day Kim started a GoFundMe campaign to get Hong a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. He received a star as a member of the 2022 class of honorees, becoming the oldest person to receive the honor at age 93.
Amazing.
Now at 95, at the time of this recording, he can be heard in Kung Fu Panda 4. That's his latest movie. But he's done so much stuff. The man never stops working.
No, and
and Everything Everywhere All at Once. That was his last feature. Yeah.
Which he was amazing in. He also just seems like the nicest guy who is so happy to be doing what he's doing.
Yeah. Enjoys life.
And it's keeping him young. I mean, the guy is incredible for 95 and still doing everything that he's doing.
Walking the red carpets and stuff. Like, he's crazy.
It's going to be...
it'll be a sad day.
Do not want that loss.
No. Robert Zadar was cast as Face, a psychotic convict.
Oh, God. Robert Zadar, you know him for his face. He's got that ginormous jaw.
Zadar was born with cherubism, The reason his face is so round, a medical condition resulting in a large jawline.
What a horrible name for a disease, by the way.
I know. Zadar had a unique and easily recognizable look with a slightly sinister appearance, which aided his career as he usually played villains.
Well, yeah, I mean...
Unfortunately, like Brian James, kind of typecast because of how he looks.
Yeah.
Before moving to Los Angeles to pursue acting, he was employed as a Chicago police officer. He was a member of the band Nova Express.
Robert Zadar was a cop?
Yep. He was a commercial jingle writer. And a Chippendales dancer.
All right, I get that. Jeez.
He did all of that before he came to Hollywood to do acting. Zadar is possibly best known for his role in Maniac Cop in 1988, the sequel Maniac Cop 2 in 1990, and another sequel Maniac Cop 3, Badge of Honor in 1993, rounding out the Maniac Cop trilogy.
Yeah, we talk like this. As a Maniac Cop.
I don't think I've ever seen any of them.
Oh, I have.
Yeah.
And he is a maniac.
Zadar appeared in 121 films and TV episodes over his career. He continued making at least one film every year despite a serious back injury he suffered in 2002 on a movie set.
Ugh.
Yeah. While appearing at Pensacon in Pensacola, Florida, Zadar was hospitalized for chest pains. He seemed to recover, but subsequently went into cardiac arrest and died on March 30th, 2015, 1 month after his hospitalization.
Damn, there's a lot of dead people in this movie.
Yeah, and it's funny how James Hong is still alive.
Well, it's awesome that it is.
Yes.
That he is. He is.
He is. Mark Alemo is Lopez, the Mexican cartel boss and associate of Peretz.
Oh, yeah.
Alemo is best known for his role as recurring villain Gold Dukat in the TV series Star Trek Deep Space Nine.
Sure.
Alemo has been playing characters in television shows since 1971. He has appeared mostly as villains in shows such as...
The Doctors, Kojak, Gunsmoke, Beretta, The $6 Million Man, The Bionic Woman, Starsky and Hutch, Knight Rider, Quincy, The Greatest American Hero, The Incredible Hulk, Quantum Leap, Family Guy, Walker, Texas Ranger, Wonder Woman, The Rockford Files, History Blues, Barnaby Jones, and The A-Team.
Alemo's son, Michael Anthony, actually wrote the last episode of Columbo.
Nice.
Yeah, I thought that was interesting. The last credit he has is in 2010, providing the voice of the Dean in a Family Guy episode.
Okay.
It's funny, he just kind of stopped. His last movie was in like 97 or something. Yeah. He just kind of stopped acting.
I have a feeling that Seth MacFarlane, much like myself, and
oh yeah,
is a huge fan of all these dudes.
Oh, these character actors.
Yeah,
and stuff. Oh,
and he's just in because you look at like all the people that he put on, over the years. There's a lot of those guys, and he is a student of TV like me.
Right.
Back in the day. He loved all that stuff, and
I'm sure
it definitely shows. Yeah.
During a Q&A panel at the Star Trek Las Vegas convention in 2015, Alemo revealed that he is still willing to work as an actor, but was out of touch with the industry and had no agency representing him at the time.
Weird.
He just kind of fell out. It's weird. He did have a movie released in 2020, a 1983 American action thriller horror film that was not properly released until 2020.
Okay.
It was a sequel to 1976 film Grizzly.
We've been waiting for that, man.
It was Grizzly 2, The Revenge.
Finally!
Yeah. It stars Steve Inwood, Louise Fletcher, John Rhys Davis, Deborah Raffin, and Deborah Foreman. It's notable because George Clooney, Laura Dern, and Charlie Sheen, who were all relatively unknown at the time, had small roles in the movie.
The first Grizzly?
No, the second one, 83. Grizzly 2, the one that came out.
In 2020?
Yes.
But
the
it
one
was
that
shot
was filmed
in
in 1983.
Okay.
Released in 2020.
Makes sense.
It turns out, I went down a weird rabbit hole with this movie because I was like, that's weird. Why would that be? Apparently, the producer, the first day before they even started shooting, disappeared. And it turns out he got arrested and was in jail during the production.
Okay.
For some unrelated thing. So they had no money to finish the movie. And then one of the other producers managed to get funding for it. They shot it over 45 days. Didn't have any money to do any post on it, so it never got released.
They finally raised the money in 2020 to finish the film. That is the longest.
There was a point where there was a VHS copy that went on to YouTube in 2007 or something, and she, maybe later, but she actually had them take it down. Well, the guy, apparently somebody covered it and gave it a bad review, and she got mad and was like, take the review down. And the guy felt bad, so he did. The movie finally got taken off, and then they were working on doing a proper release, doing the remastering and all that stuff. So, yeah, it was one of those secrets in Hollywood of it's out there, but we can't find it.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyway, I'm sure it's terrible.
We'll see when we do our Grizzlies month.
But the funny thing is that movie was released for Mark Alemo, but he has not been in a movie in 20 years.
Wow.
It's just super weird.
Well, people just fade away.
Yeah. I mean, he probably moved and just didn't keep doing it. Yeah.
I mean, let's be honest. He wasn't, super in demand to begin with, but he's a solid character actor.
He was good. He could have worked in TV. Like, he would have been fine.
Yeah, it's just a shame.
It's weird. Roy Brocksmith was cast as FBI agent Davis, who lied on the stand to get Tango Cash put in jail.
Yeah, that jerk.
Brocksmith is most well known for playing Dr. Edgemar in Total Recall, who betrays himself by sweating.
Ow.
Remember that close-up shot of the sweat going down his forehead?
He's a weird guy.
He's a strange-looking dude and talks funny.
He's got a little head and a giant body.
So good in Total Recall.
Oh, he's great. He's great in this, too. He always plays kind of a wormy dude.
Yeah.
He
just has that look.
And that voice.
Oh, yeah. He also played a police sergeant possessed by Bill in Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey.
Yeah, that was pretty fun.
Principal Michael Oslo in Picket Fences, the TV show.
Yeah.
And jovial mortician Irv Kendall in Arachnophobia.
Yes, which was great, and he was great.
Such a good movie. I mean, I shouldn't say it's a good movie. Guilty pleasure. Not a great movie.
It is not bad.
It's fun. It's a fun movie. His last role was in 2 episodes of Ally McBeal in 2002. In 2001, he died at the age of 56 due to complications from diabetes.
Diabetes will get you, man. We have seen so many horror stories. Some of the worst horror stories of actors dying are from diabetes. I wonder if he got diabetes. Diabetes.
Diabetes.
I wonder if he got parts cut off too. I mean, that's just like horrifying.
I think he died too fast.
Oh. That's a blessing. Good Lord, man. I mean, you don't want to be like Mabel King, who just
Oh my God, had every limb cut off slowly over 20
slowly
years.
de-chunkified. It's just awful.
Phil Rubenstein was cast as Matt Sakowski, the assistant warden when Tango and Cash are in prison.
Oh,
He gets his throat cut from ear to ear.
Hey, you shouldn't have trusted that guy. He betrayed you.
Yeah, well, he's dead, Tango. What do you feel about that now, jerk?
His throat was cut from ear to ear, if you know what I mean.
Does that mean from ear to ear?
Yes.
From here to here? Yeah.
Exactly what it means.
That was such a weird line. Rubenstein has been in dozens of movies and TV shows. He's perhaps most well known for a short-lived sitcom in 1979 called Working Stiff.
I remember that. Was that with Michael Keaton.
Yeah. Michael Keaton and James Belushi. It only aired 4 episodes, but when the 2 leads became movie stars in the 80s, the show saw a resurgence running on cable networks despite only having 9 episodes.
Yeah.
It just ran all the time.
Yes, that's how I saw it.
It was super weird.
Yep.
He also appeared in the TV shows
Barney Miller, Taxi, Remington Steele, The Jeffersons, Archie Bunker's Place, Alf, Alien Lifeform, Who's the Boss, Hill Street Blues, and Sylvester Spoons.
He was also in films such as
Mannequin, My Mom's a Werewolf, They Call Me Bruce, RoboCop 2, Star Trek For the Voyage Home, and Back to School.
Yeah, he was in a ton of stuff.
Oh, yeah.
He unfortunately died in June 1992 of heart failure in Los Angeles at the age of 51.
Ugh.
51, that's crazy. Louis Arquette was cast as FBI agent Wyler.
Oh, I love him.
Arquette is the son of Cliff Arquette, who was an actor and comedian best known for playing his alter ego Charlie Weaver on various TV and radio shows in the 40s and 50s. Charlie Weaver, let's all go listen to Charlie Weaver. Yeah.
That's exactly what people say.
That's what people would say, yeah. Arquette is also the father of Rosanna, Patricia, Alexis, and David Arquette, along with another kid who's not in show business, so they never name them.
Right. They didn't give the kid a name?
No. Just the sources never name the other kid. I don't know why.
Your name is gone because you didn't go into acting, loser.
He's got 5 kids, and they never named the 5th kid. He is the former father-in-law of actress Courtney Cox, film composer James Newton Howard, and actors Thomas Jane and Nicolas Cage.
Okay.
Just a funny, like they were all married to his daughters and son at a certain time. He's also Meriwether Lewis of Lewis and Clark fame as a distant relative of Louis Arquette.
Interesting.
Which is why he was named Lewis.
Okay.
While living in Chicago, Arquette managed the Second City Theater for several years. In 1970, the family moved to a Subud commune, described by Patricia as a hippie commune, in Front Royal, Virginia. His wife, Marty, died in 1997 for breast cancer. She was, that's sad. She was Jewish and the daughter of a Holocaust refugee from Poland, while Louis, raised a Catholic, was a convert to Islam.
Okay.
It's just, there's so much going on in this guy's life.
Well, no wonder the kids are so weird.
It's just so weird. Arquette has appeared in 144 movies and TV shows. He was a very prolific voiceover actor. Did a ton of animated shows in the 80s. Yeah.
I mean, you've seen him in everything.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
heard him in more.
I did not realize that he was the father of all the Arquettes.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't realize that.
Well, there's another one in the cast as well that's a daddy.
Oh, yeah. Arquette died in Los Angeles, California on February 10th, 2001 at the age of 65 due to congestive heart failure.
Good Lord, all these men are dying so young.
I know. Clint Howard was cast as Slinky, Tango's mental patient cellmate in prison.
You killed my best friend. I killed my best friend. I'm gonna kill you. I got a slinky, slink, 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 slink.
He is the second son born to American actors Rance and Gene Howard and younger brother of actor and director Ron Howard.
Do you know who my brother is?
Weird thing, I didn't realize, A, who Rance and Gene Howard were, and B, that I knew them from movies and stuff.
Oh, yeah, Rance Howard is in everything.
I had no idea. I was like, I didn't realize that they were the parents of the Howards.
Yeah.
Like, I just never put that together.
That's how little Ronnie Howard got
his start.
On the Bob Griffith show. The Andy Griffith show.
Andy Griffith show, yeah.
Rance was on that
Rance,
as well.
he was the, yeah.
And Ron Howard put both Rance and his brother in everything.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
They all got parts.
Oh, yeah. His 200-plus acting credits include feature films such as The Waterboy and Apollo 13, as well as television series such as Gentle Ben, The Baileys of Balboa, The Cowboys, My Name is Earl, and several entries in the Star Trek franchise.
Yeah, he was a child actor, just like his bro.
Yeah.
And he was... There's a very episode. There is a very famous episode of the original Star Trek show where he plays this weird little alien.
Right. He has appeared in many films directed by his brother Ron and had a small role in the 1967 animated film The Jungle Book. He's also the lead singer of his own band, the Kempsters, and also makes custom snow globes.
I am not surprised.
Howard can most recently be seen in The Old Way, the Western starring Nicolas Cage, and an episode of Star Trek Strange New Worlds.
Which is great. I'm glad that they keep putting him on the Star Trek shows because I think he's been on almost every series. And The Old Way, my God, man. It seems like every week Hulu has like 3 or 4 new Nicolas Cage movies that I've never heard of.
The funny thing is, I thought this was a different Western that is just coming out that Nicolas Cage is in.
Yeah.
But it's not. There's a whole new other Western that he's in that's not The Old Way.
Okay.
It's like the man he's literally never stops working.
Yeah, I never have to sleep.
It must have been tough must be kind of tough for Clint Howard to be under the shadow of his brother, who is extremely celebrated.
Yeah.
You know, all through his career. And Clint just kind of showed up in B movies playing a weirdo.
Yeah.
I mean, his whole
thing is that he just looks kind of weird.
And he always plays some sort of scum.
Yeah. Michael Jeter was cast as Skinner, the sound engineer paid to implicate Tango and Cash.
Oh, my God. Another amazing character actor.
Yeah, so good. Jeter was a prolific character actor, being typecast as a wimp, quote-unquote wimp, in most Hollywood movies. He played a wimp such as in...
The Fisher King, Waterworld, Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, The Green Mile and Drop Zone.
He was able to stray from that occasionally, such as in Jurassic Park 3, Air Bud, and Open Range. Jeter's perhaps most known for his role as convicted felon Edward Delacroix in The Green Mile, a role for which he was nominated along with the rest of the cast for a Screen Actors Guild Award.
That's Mr. Jingles.
Mr. Jingles.
Where's our Mr. Jingles?
He actually had a very successful theater career, earning a Tony Award for his role in the musical Grand Hotel in 1990.
He was an exceptional actor.
A crazy good actor. He was nominated 3 times for Outstanding Supporting Actor in a Comedy Series for his role in Evening Shade, winning once.
Yeah, the Burt Reynolds Show.
Oh, yeah. He was also nominated in the same category for his parts in Picket Fences and Chicago Hope.
Yeah.
Jeter was gay and met his partner Sean Blue in 1995. Jeter was HIV positive and disclosed his diagnosis in a 1997 interview on Entertainment Tonight.
Yeah, I remember that.
Despite this, he remained healthy for many years.
Yeah.
Jeter also announced while accepting his 1990 Tony that he recovered from substance abuse. You know, I mean, it happens when you're... I guess he wasn't really hiding the fact that he was gay, but...
No, but look, man, being gay back then, whether being out or not, was not an easy thing.
No.
It was a lot less accepting.
You're much more likely to dive into the vices when you can't live your truth.
Yeah, 100%.
On March 30th, 2003, Jeter was found dead by Blue in his home in Hollywood, California. He was 50.
Ah, Jesus, man.
Blue said that Jeter died of complications after an epileptic seizure.
Oh.
Jeter was cremated and his ashes were given to charity.
What?
They were given to a charity.
Okay. Okay.
I don't know why.
Really weird.
Maybe it was a charity that he supported. Maybe he's in an urn there living at charity headquarters. I don't know.
Okay.
Didn't even know you could give your ashes to a charity.
Yeah, I mean, is it a write-off?
No, it's like, you deal with this. I don't know.
Yikes.
Jeffrey Lewis was cast as Captain Schroeder, Tango's commanding officer. Lewis appeared in more than 200 films and television shows and was principally known for his film roles alongside Clint Eastwood and Robert Redford.
That's where I fell in love with him as a character actor, was the Clint Eastwood, the Any Which Way But Loose, Any Which Way You Can. He was just this guy that was like, come on, everybody, just be a good guy. He was just like, he usually played a good guy, sometimes a bad guy.
Yeah.
But he had a really good chemistry with Clint, and it was always, he had such crazy eyes, though.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Crazy eyes.
Also, a terrible haircut in this movie.
Oh, my God, bangs. It looked like a bowl cut.
It looked like he was wearing a wig. It was super weird.
Not good.
His work with Eastwood includes
Midnight in the Garden of Good and Evil, Pink Cadillac, Any Which Way You Can, Bronco Billy, Every Which Way But Loose, Thunderbolt and Lightfoot, and High Plains Drifter.
Some of the TV series he was in include
Bonanza, Gunsmoke, Mannix, Mission Impossible, Cannon, Barnaby Jones, Mork and Mindy, The Golden Girls, Lou Grant, Mama's Family, Magnum P.I., The A-Team, Titus, Murder, She Wrote, The X-Files, Little House on the Prairie, Highway to Heaven, Starsky and Hutch, Walker, Texas Ranger, and Law and Order, Criminal Intent.
One of his 9 children is actress Juliette Lewis, with whom he acted in at least 2 movies. Blueberry, a.k.a. Renegade in 2004, and The Way of the Gun in 2000.
Nice.
Way of the Gun is another one of those guilty pleasures. It's not a very good movie, but it is a very fun action movie.
Sure.
On April 7th, 2015, Lewis died of a heart attack at the age of 79.
Oh.
He had suffered the heart attack while working out at the motion picture and television Country House and Hospital, according to his family.
Oh.
His son told Variety he had been suffering from Parkinson's disease and dementia.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Getting old is just not good.
No, it's not fun. Edward Bunker was cast as Captain Holmes, Cash's commanding officer.
Edith Bunker. Oh, no. It's a different show.
Different. Bunker was an American author of crime fiction, a screenwriter, convicted felon, and an actor.
Ooh.
He wrote numerous books, some of which have been adapted into films. He wrote the scripts for and acted in Straight Time in 1978, adapted from his debut novel No Beast So Fierce, starring Dustin Hoffman, Teresa Russell, Gary Busey, Harry Dean Stanton, Emmett Walsh, and Kathy Bates.
Great movie.
Runaway Train in 1985, directed by Andrei Konchalovsky, and starring John Voight, Eric Roberts, Rebecca De Mornay, and John P. Ryan.
Yep.
He adapted it from the Kurosawa script. An Animal Factory in 2000, adapted from his sophomore novel of the same name, directed by Steve Buscemi, and starring Willem Dafoe, Edward Furlong, Danny Trejo, John Hurd, Mickey Rourke, Tom Arnold, Seymour Cassell, Shel Galloway, and Mark Boone Jr.
Yeah, it's a prison movie, and unfortunately wasn't that great.
No. He literally only has one line in Tango Cash, but I wanted to include him because he played a minor role in Reservoir Dogs.
He is such a good actor.
And he is so good.
And he was in a lot of Westerns, too, and he just has that look of a cowboy or a cop, or it was just really funny since he was a felon. There's an authenticity to him that is that few actors really have. Like, just looking at him gives him, like, okay, I get it. He didn't even need to open up his mouth, and I believe he's whatever he's supposed to be.
On one of the Reservoir Dogs DVDs, there was a short documentary about him that Tarantino did. Because he was fascinated with Eddie Bunker.
Sure.
And I just remember there being a whole bit where he would sit out on Hollywood Boulevard and harass tourists. Like, as soon as they would come up, he's like, I'd see him with their Iowa plates, and I'd just be like, get the hell out of here. Like,
nice.
It was just like, I was like, what?
Which color was he? Was he Mr.
I think he was Mr. Blue.
Oh, yeah.
If I remember correctly. Okay. Yeah. Production on the film started off with a bang when Sylvester Stallone had the original director of photography, Barry Sonnenfeld, fired.
You fired.
He didn't like how Sonnenfeld was lighting him.
Okay, well, I guess you made a big mistake there, buddy, because he went on to be pretty good.
One of the best cinematographers of all time.
Yeah, ask the Coen brothers how... I don't like the way you're lighting me.
It doesn't make any sense. Donald E. Thorin, who had shot Stallone's movie Lockup earlier that year, was Sonnenfeld's replacement.
You know, I bet it was. I bet it was more of like, I can control this guy, but I can't control this guy.
Yeah,
you know,
totally.
Stallone was a micromanaging a-hole back then because he was. I mean, it was like we keep talking about this rivalry between he and Arnold, just drove him insane.
Yeah, and I mean, technically, his movies had made a lot of money. I mean, like, he technically knew what he was doing.
Who?
Stallone.
Oh, yeah.
But I mean, like, it's just hard to remember that when he started making these really awful sequels.
Well, I mean, look at it this way, too. the pressure of maintaining that stardom and maintaining that level of success, it ain't easy, No. So as I get older, I'm more forgiving.
Oh, no, totally.
Of these guys, because if you think about it, you got to walk in somebody's shoes before you start, kicking them in the ass.
Think about it. Like, the only person that can control your career is you.
Yeah.
And it's like, I'm sure he took that to heart, and he was like, I'm going to make sure that everything I'm in is to what I want to be.
Yeah, and he didn't, unfortunately. I mean, he made a lot of poop.
I know. Well, you actually have to be somewhat talented.
He's somewhat Look, man.
He's fine.
Rocky was great.
He was really great in this movie. I will say that. After nearly 3 months of filming, director Andrei Konchalovsky was fired by producer John Peters in a dispute over the movie's ending. Konchalovsky said that the reason he was fired was because he and Stallone wanted to give the film a more serious tone and make it more realistic than the producers wanted.
Yeah, I do not agree with that.
I know. Konchalovsky also blamed his firing on his refusal to agree to what he referred to as the increasingly insane demands that Peters had. Konchalovsky said that he was initially hired to make a buddy cop movie with plenty of humor, but Peters basically wanted him to turn into a spoof without any semblance of seriousness, and Konchalovsky refused.
Good for him.
Yeah, I mean, he stood his ground. Essentially, Konchalovsky argued that they were simply trying to make two different movies, and when Peters realized his inability to bend Konchalovsky to his will, he fired him.
You're fired.
According to supporting actor Brian James, in a 1999 interview with Louis Paul, the film was in disarray from the very beginning, and by the halfway point of the shoot, when the film was several months behind schedule, Peters and Konchalovsky were no longer speaking.
Okay.
Which is not, when your producer and your director don't talk, it's a bad deal.
Oh, yeah.
James agreed that the official reason Konchalovsky was fired was because of the budget, but he also said that going over budget was not Konchalovsky's fault and that Konchalovsky did not deserve to be fired.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like it.
Konchalovsky, however, had nothing but praise for Sylvester Stallone, and both he and James said that despite Stallone's ego and decision to fire the original cinematographer, Stallone was the one person who held the project together and that he was a constant voice of reason in an increasingly chaotic set.
Hey, listen to me, guys. Everybody needs to calm down.
According to Konchalovsky, by the end of principal photography, Stallone was unofficially working as producer, director, and writer, as well as the star. Konchalovsky believes that it had not been for Stallone, Peters would have fired him much sooner than he did. Production sources said that Konchalovsky had been given impossible scheduling demands and was then made the scapegoat when he fell behind.
Yeah, that happened back then.
Yeah.
It happens today, too.
It still happens, yeah. Reportedly, executive producer Peter McDonald, who was also one of the film's second unit directors, took over directing the movie before Magnoli was brought in. A year earlier, McDonald had to step in as director on Stallone's previous movie, Rambo 3, after the original director was fired by Stallone.
Hey, you're fired.
The director was replaced with Albert Magnoli, who filmed all the chase and fight scenes in the ending. With all the big quarry stuff. Magnoli had directed Purple Rain in 1984, as well as 3 of Prince's music videos, including Bat Dance from the Tim Burton Batman movie.
Nice. I love Purple Rain.
Oh, it's a great movie. There was also a legal battle between producers Peter Guber and John Peters and Warner Brothers Studio. Guber and Peters complained in Los Angeles Superior Court that Warner had replaced them on the project, and over Peters' objections,
advanced the release date of the film by many months.
Which was completely untrue.
Really?
It was always going to be December of 1989. I don't know. They were literally just trying to get more money.
Adam, I'm starting to feel like this Peter guy's a jerk.
Yeah. John Peters, just total aside, but John Peters is the subject of that Kevin Smith big, long story about Superman, how John Peters bought the rights to Superman.
And the spider, yes.
And he wanted to have a giant spider at the end, and Kevin Smith was like, I'm not doing that. And then he fired Kevin Smith from the project, and then
I went to the movies and saw Wild Wild West.
Yeah.
And guess what I saw in the third act? A giant spider.
Yeah. It's a great, that whole sequence with Kevin Smith and that whole like stand-up thing he did. It's not really, it's more like a long
storytelling.
Yeah. It was so good.
Smith is a great storyteller.
Yeah. So the film went into production on June 12th, 1989, and was originally scheduled to wrap by August 25th, 1989, right around the time that Konchalovsky was fired. But they had also gone behind by a month.
Right.
The climactic battle in the quarry was shot in a real quarry in Irwindale, California, east of Los Angeles. Every shot in the sequence was filmed by a minimum of 11 cameras, and some of the setups were so dangerous that the stuntmen were only allowed to do them once.
Yeah, it looked really messy.
That might be part of the reason why the movie went over budget. One of the monster trucks of the quarry scene towards the end is the famous Bigfoot truck. Although it's painted different colors than its trademark blue and does not feature any Bigfoot decals, it was confirmed that it is in fact Bigfoot by the owner of the original monster truck, Bob Chandler.
That whole sequence just becomes bizarre. It's
so
just,
over
what
the
is
top.
going on? You know, These guys are what, like drug dealers and arms dealers?
Yeah.
They have this huge construction site with monster trucks.
They get Pollard makes them that SUV, that tank SUV, and then as they drive in, surprise, the bad guys also have trucks that have armor and giant guns on them.
It looks like they have prototypes too.
It's just
I don't know.
really? And just they go, the Bigfoot comes in and tries to crush them, and then they use these giant earth movers or whatever and try to smash them together.
Big old trucks. It was it was every 5-year-old boy's biggest dream, just a bunch of big old construction trucks blowing into each other.
I didn't add this, but apparently when they was getting crushed and they set the car on fire, the fire wouldn't go out, and literally Stallone and Russell almost died.
I'm not surprised.
Yeah. They got them out just in the nick of time because apparently the cross draft was causing the flames to go up into the front of the truck.
Do you smell something burning?
I think it's you.
The sound effect used for Tango and Cash's truck in the quarry is the same as Luke Skywalker's land speeder in A New Hope.
Nice.
Yeah. Apparently they also used some of the DeLorean sounds from the Back to the Future. For the truck.
If you're going to steal from the best.
As well. After principal photography was finished in September, replacement director Magnoli called everyone back to the set for 2 more weeks of additional reshoots, which included filming a completely new opening sequence.
Okay.
Which it must have been Stallone shooting at the truck with the impossible physics of him flying out. Yeah. It's such a great opening and so awful.
Well, it's got all of the cliches. The dumping out the bullets, the putting in the new bullets, and the fact that he's using a snub-nosed 38.
Yeah.
That thing, those bounce off of windows.
He shot it from like 8 football fields away.
Those guns, I hate to sound like my stepdad, but those guns are accurate at like 10 yards.
If that.
Maximum.
Yeah, if that. They're not. Pistols are designed for much more closer up action.
Yeah, and they
they actually apparently, I didn't include this either, but apparently they stole that whole sequence from Police Story, the Jackie Chan movie from 1985.
Nice.
And Jackie Chan was like, well, since he did that for Police Story 3, he stole the whole them ziplining out of prison and used it in Police Story 3.
Nice.
Yeah.
You gonna steal from me? I'm gonna steal from you. Yeah, and another thing. And this is a lesson that they haven't even learned to this day.
No.
I'm talking to you, Reacher. But the whole, they shoot the fuel truck and then cocaine comes spooshing out.
Yeah.
Drug dealers do not put loose cocaine into tires or into... They are packaged because it is...
It's literally money. You're throwing away money. Every single milligram that goes away is money you're losing.
Is this cocaine, Tango?
No, they're smuggling Splendor across the border.
It's just sugar.
Yeah, I hate when they do that.
Filming was finally finished on October 20th, 1989, 8 weeks before its original scheduled theatrical opening in 1,600 theaters across the United States.
That's insane, because back then you had to make prints. The
editing process took a long time. And then on top of that, prints and marketing and, the film ultimately missed its budget by over $20 million and had to be completely re-edited by editor Stuart Baird prior to its theatrical release.
Well, that's where the movie is saved. That's just like Jaws was saved by Marshall Lucas.
Yeah.
Editing sometimes comes in and will make a bad movie a good movie.
Oh, yeah. Tango Cash was one of many films to be turned over to Baird, who came onto projects as an editing quote-unquote doctor when studios such as Warner Brothers were displeased with the first cut or literally every cut that was turned in by the filmmakers.
Yeah, why didn't you get Baird to do it at the beginning, dum-dums?
Baird was only called in by Warner Brothers to re-edit... Baird was also called in by Warner Brothers to re-edit another Stallone action movie, Demolition Man, in 1993 for the exact same reasons.
Another guilty pleasure.
A very guilty pleasure. After Baird was brought in by Warner Brothers to save the movie in the editing room, he hired Hubert de la Bruyere to edit the film. Sorry, Hubert. To edit the film, and Harold Faltermeyer and Gary Chang to compose the music. Chang provided additional music near the end of the movie because Faltermeyer could not return to rescore the final reel of the film as it was constantly being edited because of constant complaints from Warner Brothers.
Crazy. The music I did was Axel F. from Beverly Hills Cop. Another Harold Faltermeyer soundtrack.
Because of the massive re-editing, some plot points and even some action scenes were deleted.
Oh, no.
Apparently the trailer, literally like 90% of the trailer, is nothing that's in the movie. The movie was racing to make its December 15th release, but due to the Warner Brothers Studios complaints on every different cut that was edited before they approved the final theatrical version, it barely made the deadline and ended up being shipped to theaters in wet prints, an industry term meaning that it was just barely completed before its release date.
Yeah. Oh, my God. That was like the tension that you must feel.
Ugh. Dude, stress, the absolute stress. Like, yeah. It was actually released on December 22nd. It was actually pushed by a week, making it one of the last movies released in the 1980s.
All right.
Along with the movie Always.
Okay. Always wasn't bad.
Last two movies of the 1980s. But it's so perfect for this movie. Because it is literally the epitome, the amalgamation of everything in the 80s.
It is the bastard child of 1,000 action movies.
One of the writers who worked on the constantly changing script for the film was Jeffrey Boehm, whose name might sound familiar because he worked on the scripts for the Lethal Weapon films. He did a rewrite of the script, which he described as being long, incredible, and awful, that didn't change anything conceptually.
Okay, self-aware. Nice.
Even though he completed many rewrites, he hated both the script and the film and did not want to be credited for his work.
Oh, sad sack.
Yeah.
Spoiler.
He still would have made money. Whatever. And it was still a fun movie.
I get it, though.
I know.
If it's a nightmare experience for you, you're not going to watch that with any sort of glee.
Behind-the-scenes problems, including filming, script changes, and later constant cuts and re-editing of the movie, were so big and so bad that one of the more experienced crew members said in an interview,
"This was the worst organized, most poorly prepared film that I've ever been on in my life. From the first day we started, no one knew what the hell anyone was doing."
The same crew member also mentioned some reasons why director Konchalovsky was fired.
"He found himself in over his head. There were scenes scheduled for 3 days that were so complicated they should have been scheduled for 6 or 7 days. They were trying to do a 22-week movie in 11 weeks.
Yeah. I mean, it was over-scheduled. And they did such a long pre-production process and that filming was started so late that they had to stick with that. We have to release it in December of 89. We have to.
Hi. I remember this movie. Worked on it.
Yeah.
You realize that we hate movies, executives.
This is the only thing I'm learning from doing this show.
Absolutely.
Executives must just hate movies.
Hate them. We hate them. We hate people who watch them and enjoy them. So our main goal is to ruin every movie we can. We don't get them all, but we get a lot. We didn't get this one. We tried hard.
Yeah, it still was fun, despite your incompetence.
Yep. It's one that got away.
All right. Well, hey, I think your kids just got away. They're running down the street. I can see them.
Yep.
All right. Thanks, Bob.
Bob's losing it.
He is. Stallone later said about Tango Cash,
"I had a really good time on that film. Could nail some of those scenes like the pro is."
Speaking on both Konchalovsky and Magnoli, Stallone also said,
"Andre was a real gentleman, and I thought his take on Tango Cash was very good, and it would have been infinitely more realistic had it been allowed to continue. His replacement was more attuned to comic pop culture, so the film had a dramatic shift into a more lighthearted direction."
He was trying to be very political about the whole thing. He's just like, all right. This was one of the first American movies to get a wide release in Soviet bloc countries after the fall of the Berlin Wall.
Yeah, this was shortly after I visited.
Oh, nice.
I visited communist Russia in 88.
Right.
So, or 87 to 88.
Right.
And then, so this was just shortly after.
Bootleg VHS tapes became hot sellers in Russia.
You like American movie? I guess you American movie.
It's the most perfect example of America.
I love America. Big explosion. Hair so big.
Seriously.
Man make fun of wiener of another man all time.
Brian James once claimed he never felt more like a celebrity than when he was swarmed by crowds of people in Ukraine who recognized him as one of the movie's villains.
Oh, yeah. Oh, man. One thing I will have to say, when I was in Russia, the Russian people were amazing. They were really awesome.
Yeah.
For the most part. There is a few that just hated Americans,
Sure.
There's a few Americans that hate commies.
Yeah.
But the Russian people were amazing.
Nice. Shortly after the film was released, a very potent batch of heroin was sold in the Bronx. Tango Cash was stamped on the bags.
Tango Cash.
So many users overdosed, some fatally, that the NYPD drove around neighborhoods using loudspeakers to tell people not to use that particular batch of heroin.
Attention! Attention! Please do not use the Tango and Cash heroin. Just like the movie, it will kill you.
It was reported on all the flagship network TV stations as well. The movie would end up making over $6.6 million in its opening weekend and $120.4 million total from a $54 million budget.
Hey, guys, I just wanted to come back.
Yeah.
That was my idea. The product placement.
Of the heroin?
Yeah, we thought, heroin, Tango and Cash, get people in the theaters. What are you going to do when you're nodding out? You go to the movies.
Yeah, that's true. Nobody bugs you if you nod out in the movies.
I just, I messed up the ratio.
Oh, okay. Well, I got to give you props. It was a pretty good idea. Pretty good promotional scheme.
Hey, look, you know what our motto is? People die. Making movies, people die.
I thought your motto was a broken clock is right at least twice a day.
Yeah, well, not this clock.
Nope. It's just blinking double zeros the whole time. The reviews were mixed. The New York Times criticized the plot, the screenplay, and the acting. Surprise. Michael Wilmington of the Los Angeles Times called it
a waste of talent and energy on all levels.
Criticizing the film as both illogical and predictable.
Really?
How can it be illogical and predictable?
Yeah, that's dumb. I don't think it was predictable.
I don't think it was predictable at all. Okay. Dave Kerr of the Chicago Tribune wrote that one interpretation of the film is
a crafty foreigner's sly parody of a current state of American culture.
Tango Cash was nominated for 3 Golden Raspberry Awards for Worst Actor for Sylvester Stallone.
What are you talking about? It was a very different role for me.
Worst Supporting Actress with Kurt Russell in Drag.
That's funny. Okay, that's funny.
And Worst Screenplay. Despite doing quite well at the box office, no sequels were ever explored until September 2019, when Stallone revealed that he had a story prepared for a potential sequel and was trying to convince Kurt Russell to sign on to the project.
Oh, come on, Kurt, do it.
However, while Stallone was excited to film a sequel, Russell was unsure if he wanted to, saying that by then they were in their...
on Prime.
Yeah, as of 2023, no further news has materialized on the sequel.
I would still love to see it. I'd love to see those old bastards getting back together.
The thing is that the movie cost $52 million. It went $20 million over budget. If they had made this for the $30 million they originally said, they would have greenlit a sequel the next day.
Oh, of course.
Because it made 4 times its original budget.
Yeah.
But I mean, it just makes me wonder if Warner Brothers was like, yeah, that was a nightmare. We're never doing this again.
Well, it also seems like a lot of the people involved would not.
Yeah.
It's just, the funny thing is there's really not a lot about Kurt Russell behind the scenes. And it just seems to me that he was probably just in his trailer talking to Goldie, being like, yeah, this thing is crazy. Yeah. Everybody's out of their minds, but I'm just doing my job.
Yeah.
How's Wyatt?
Having fun. Yeah. It's such a guilty pleasure. I love this movie so much.
Oh, me too.
It is not by any means a good movie, but it is so much fun.
It is ridiculously, relentlessly entertaining.
Yes,
and
yes.
That has to do, like I said, 90% of it is just pure Kurt Russell joy.
Yeah.
The man is, in my opinion, he was probably the most charismatic actor.
Oh, yeah.
In the last 50 years.
Yeah.
Is pure charisma, pure likability. There's a lot of movies that are not good. I'm looking at you, Tombstone, but are elevated because of his performance and other performances in that movie. But
yeah.
And it's so much better than the Kevin Costner Wyatt or Earp, I guess is that what you call him. Anyway, but unfortunately, he couldn't Escape from L.A. But everything else, man, he brings out the best in his co-stars.
Oh, yeah.
And he just seems like the guy gets it, man. He's been in the business for so long that he gets it. He gets every role. He gets his purpose.
Right.
He gets what his role is in the movie.
Yeah.
And in this one, he's the foil. And he's playing basically, and we said this before, he's basically playing Mel Gibson's part in Lethal Weapon.
Yeah.
It's not suicidal.
Yeah.
You take away the mental illness, and that is cash.
Was it Bird on a Wire, the one with Mel Gibson and Goldie Hawn?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was originally supposed to be Kurt Russell, but because he was filming Tango Cash, he couldn't take the part. So he actually suggested Mel Gibson for it.
Nice.
And Mel Gibson got the part.
And not a good movie, unfortunately.
No.
And everybody, I was so excited because I loved Mel Gibson at the time, and I loved Goldie Hawn, and everybody was looking forward to that. But it was another one of those. There was a period where we were making all of these movies about counterculture hippie types who did some sort of bad thing back in the 60s and they were on the run. And that was Gibson's character. He was on the run from like the FBI or whatever. We had tons of those. And it was just thin. But, man, this movie, it's got the greatest character actors.
It's so good. Every time a new character comes up, it's like, oh, it's that guy.
And everybody is having fun. And they get it, man. They get that this movie is a goof. It is this big, over-the-top, just bombastic, ridiculous. It should be horrible.
It really should be. It really should be.
But, I mean, everything about it, the prison stuff, the fact that for like hours, every prisoner's down in the basement with James.
That was the best. Hey, boss. Why is there a giant limo outside?
Hey,
whose limo is that?
That's weird. And where are all the prisoners?
I can hear a whole lot of shouting from downstairs. Should we inspect that?
Nah. Just finish your ham sandwich. Why are the lights flickering all the time?
Oh my god!
I mean, they
should both be dead. That should be the end of the movie. Was them getting electrocuted in the water.
Over the top. Everything about it.
So ridiculous.
But it jammed all of the greatest tropes of 80s movies. Unjustly convicted and sent to prison. You know, the only thing that it really didn't have, and it did kind of, that all these movies has, is it didn't have a montage. It had
no, it really didn't.
It had the pseudo montage of the whole court situation, which was a montage, but not a typical
not like a music over montage.
As the guys are like maybe shirtless on the beach running together or whatever. There was no time for a montage.
But it had such a good of Tango and Cash coming together, hating each other at the beginning, being super competitive, but then caring about each other at the end.
Oh yeah,
so good
and still competitive. But like we said, there were moments in this movie, like when Kurt Russell's like. It was great because Sylvester Stallone, you're great. You're the best cop I've ever known.
Yeah.
And if anything happens, I want you to know you're the greatest cop I've ever known. If anything happens, I want you to know I'm going to date your sister. And then you think he's going to be like, you're not dating my sister, but he went deep and was like, look, it's nothing against you. It's just I don't want her to get that call.
Yeah,
I couldn't live with myself if you died. And he's like, nothing's gonna happen to me.
Yeah, and then he should have responded, but I got plot armors.
Right, exactly. And then they get shot like everybody is like, I've been shot 1,000,000 times. It's
yeah.
But
it's just such a fun movie. It's so ridiculous. It's so much fun.
Look, you got Stallone trying really, really hard to go against type. Really hard.
It's, to me, second best acting he's ever done.
Well, there's times where he doesn't do it because everything is very sing-song, and he has a very good way of doing things, so he can talk really fast.
He embodies that part so well.
Yes.
Like, it's different for him as an actor, but he is so that part.
Let me talk to my broker. I'm going to get on a margin call.
Yeah. But, yeah, I mean, it's a shame that this movie isn't as popular as it should be, in my opinion.
It is. I think it's going to be more popular than you realize. I think a lot of people really like this movie.
I hope
it's
so.
just not. I think it's forgotten about.
Yeah.
I think people are just kind of like, oh yeah,
like Running Scared. Yeah. Like all these movies this month, I think they're underrated. None of them, like we said, are Lethal Weapon. None of them are your A-tier buddy movies.
No.
But there is something so almost quaint about this movie and how just unrelentingly strangely positive.
Yes.
For such a weird plot.
Such a strange movie.
And just so much fun. And it just seems like everybody's having fun and most people really got the assignment,
So it's rare for me to see an older movie like this where I was like, why didn't they make more?
Yeah.
And two, is
Thanks.
is to I literally would sit down and watch this again right now.
Sure.
I would. The second it ended, I was like, I want to see this again.
Yes.
Like, that is such a rare feat for a movie that's 40 years old.
40 years old, really hard to find on streaming, which is a crime.
Yeah, yeah.
This is another one where after we're done, I'm jumping on Amazon. I'm going to see if I can find a cheap DVD or Blu-ray to throw in the collection, because the fact that this isn't in my collection, I'm embarrassed. And it's just such a great ending to the bombastic action nonsense of the 80s.
Yeah, yeah.
It really all culminated to this crazy, over-the-top nutball film.
It's a perfect way to end the 80s.
If you haven't seen it, you got to see it.
Find it. Go on Amazon. You could probably get it from your library. It's probably got copies there. But definitely find it. Buy a copy of it. You will thank us later.
It is perfect for your collection. If you're an 80s movie aficionado, or you're a lover of action and cop movies and buddy movies, this one's not going to disappoint. And if you are disappointed in this movie, you don't have joy in your life.
Yeah.
You need some joy in your life if you don't like this.
This would be a great double feature with the movie we're covering next week, Harley Davidson, the Marlboro Man.
Oh, my God. Perfect. It also would be a great double feature with Running Scared.
Yeah.
You know, I think all of these movies would pair well together because they've got the kind of similar vibe, which is kind of these low-key different buddy movies.
Yeah.
I am just so happy that we cover this movie. I haven't seen it in years.
And so much fun to watch.
It's the most fun I've had seeing a movie in months, man.
Yeah, yeah.
It's just, they don't make them like this anymore.
Puts you in such a good mood. It's just so ridiculous. And it should not work, but it does.
But I miss the days, the 80s, of the over-the-top bombastic...
Yeah.
You know, behind the scenes turmoil and what's going to happen.
Right.
I mean, the stories behind these movies are almost as entertaining as the movies themselves.
Yeah.
And you got anything with Kurt Russell in his prime is 100% gold.
Oh,
man.
yeah.
And like I said, it's a shame that he and Stallone didn't do any other movies together, because Russell brought out some really good stuff in Stallone, and vice versa, right?
Yeah. They were really good together. They had really good chemistry. It's really a shame. Yeah, it's really a shame.
Oh, Jack Palance. Yes.
All right, we'll be back next week. Cover our last Other Buddies movie.
Yes,
which another one I've not seen in many, many, many years.
Same. Harley Davidson and the Marlboro Man, baby. Little Don Johnson.
Oh, Don Johnson's another one that it's just everything he's in. I love him.
Yes, Don Johnson. As you all know, I'm a huge Miami Vice fan, and John Johnson, he's great now. He was really great in the Keenan Thompson's sitcom, which unfortunately was canceled.
Oh, was it?
Such a shame. It was a really good show. And he was really great in it. And he's still just like, guys like him who are still just devastatingly handsome.
Yeah.
Even at his age. They make me so mad.
Oh, I just want to punch his face. I just want to punch him.
So we'll see you next week. We're going to get your Marlboros ready. Start revving up that Harley.
We're going to be doing the whole show on Harley's chain-smoking Marlboros.
And we're going to be doing it live in an airplane graveyard.
Yes!
Tango and Cash.
Welcome to the Gen X Files. I'm Jim.
I'm Adam.
And today's show is all about
Tango and Cash.
Okay, sorry. Are we going to do Palance, Tango and Cash?
No, you do that after.
Okay. Sorry. Yep. Can't do it on the first try. We have to do it 27 times.
He died in 2001 at the age of 56.
You want to do it without laughing?
Nope.
Bonanza, Gunsmoke, Mannix, Mission Impossible, Cannon 6.
No. Just don't read that 6.
Oh. Bonanza, We now return you to your regularly scheduled program, Abigail, already in progress.